Good evening and welcome to another Fortean Words. It's Hobbit at the Hobbit list. He must have had fourth breakfast or something. I don't know where he is. You got me and Mad Faz again tonight.
Good evening.
I'm sure he'll turn up at some point. I did want him in here because I wanted to talk about... He's always banging on about quartz crystals, but, you know, he'll appear. I've texted him and a little git.
Fried jerk-off crystals. But,
yeah. He's a big expert on the jerk-off crystals. Right then, so do you want to? You got anything to start with, or do you want me to go straight into G.E. Kincaid?
Hey, you can do what you like, sir.
Right, so I've been watching, and there's a really good series to watch if you want to watch where I've got like the names to research further. It's called National Park Mysteries. Really, really good series. You can find it on Now TV at the minute. I'm sure you can find it other places as well. But if you've got Now TV or Sky TV, you can watch it on there.
Is that Sky Atlantic then, or is it?
No, it's because there's a Sky documentary channel now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hobbit was Alphabet Cat's grassed him up. Hobbit was playing his prepper game earlier on.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not listening. He's just little git's not listening to his phone.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, he's probably fell asleep or something. You know how miserable he is. Right, where was I? G.E. Kincaid. So, there's a disclaimer for this one. Much of the criticism levelled at this story makes reference to the barely researched assumption that this was a one-time appearance of an Inquirer-type yellow journalism headline story. As I've stated in this website, the story was very unique in an otherwise pretty boring, everyday mainstream Phoenix paper that was not even remotely prone to such Inquirer-type sensation. Not a fan of the National Enquirer, obviously. Type sensationalism. Tyler Pooley was the well-deserved credit for discovering what the debunkers wish had never existed, and that is a previous article mentioning a casual reference to G.E. Kincaid arriving in Yuma on a 310, maybe. The article predates the April 5th date and was published in March the 12th, 1909. Here is the article as I printed and scanned it directly from the microfilms of the Arizona Gazette of 1909. I have also typed the article so it can be more clearly read. As I have said, this story is much more mysterious, involved and complicated than its religious debunkers would like you to believe. It cannot neatly be labelled a hoax or a fraud. Once one leaves the debunkers' realm of shoddy research and snap judgments based on emotion, rather than hard and serious objective research, it becomes evident that there is much more to this story than meets the eye of a casual skim reading of the 1909 article. And then Jack Andrews, copyright 2001, blah, blah, blah. So I'm reading this from BRTI America blogspot, whatever happened to G.E. Kincaid. So I saw this on National. Oh, here he is.
Oh my God, he is. He's alive.
He's alive.
Can you hear me?
Just in. Yeah. Oh, he's out.
Good.
He's out in the Jag. He's out in the Jag.
I will be though.
Yeah, that's good because I want you to talk about quartz in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, certainly, and not talk about ABS fault code.
Yeah. Go on then.
I was going to say beautiful veneered wood panels, but the traction control fault's gone.
Bang, and the traction control fault's gone. What if everything we know about American history is wrong? What if the ancients came here long before Columbus and Jamestown? And what if they... He's done it again. He started a sentence with "and." And what if they left behind clues so that we could one day learn about the true history of humanity? This is something you've been talking about as well, Fraser, isn't it? That the men with buckles in their hats weren't the original settlers.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems like there's plenty of evidence that it's not the case.
Well, they're saying it's
Even-
it's everybody from the Vikings to the ancient
No, but that's the
Egyptians.
normie. That's the normie take though as well. I mean, there's real schizo takes out there. Like,
How schizo does it get?
black people and Asians used to be the same race.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It gets dark.
Real dark, real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, there are many weird take out there about the Americas.
Hobbit, is it true in chat that you were actually out buying soup ingredients?
Super green? What's that?
Soup ingredients.
Soup ingredients. Are you out making another soup?
You're the soup man.
You're the soup man, aren't you, Hobbit?
Yes. I just went and bought some pashtet. So yes, that's a soup ingredient.
So in 1999, two men stumbled upon the missing link between the ancient world and our own. Professor S.A. Jordan and explorer G.E. Kincaid, sometimes spelt Kincaid. I just thought I'd do an audio joke there. Discovered a cave system in the Grand Canyon that was home to much more than stalagmites and bats. How do you know the difference between stalagmites and stalactites? Anybody know?
Stalagmites fall down.
Mites go up and tights come down. That's
Is that it?
Yeah, that was the rhyme I was taught.
Yeah.
Mites go up and tights come down.
Okay.
Stalagmites and
I didn't know
bats. Actually, a
That's
tunnel
another
system. A tunnel system is a better description than of a cave. Yeah, because this was supposed to be like hewn into the rock, wasn't it? What the two men found was a dugout maze of geometrically perfect tunnels filled with ancient Egyptian and Indian artifacts, including mummies. A Buddhist shrine with plainly Egyptian hieroglyphs, boomerangs, and distinct metal objects were also among the finds. How could this be? Why have we never heard of this? Jordan and Kincaid were both funded by the Smithsonian, our national museum. Well, their national museum, not ours.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Gazette published their report as a front-page story on April 15th, 1909.
I mean, if it was our national museum, we'd just give it back, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're charitable like that. We
This
don't cover shit up.
Yeah, no, would we ever? This raised a few eyebrows, but never gained the national media's attention. What amounts to the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century, possibly even the greatest ever, was promptly swept under the rug. If you ask the Smithsonian about this find, they'll swiftly deny its validity. Not the Smithsonian, no, anybody but the Smithsonian. They don't lie about anything.
They're like Snopes.
Yeah, yeah, they're the Snopes of museums, and say they don't know a Professor Jordan or a G.E. Kincaid. The relics they brought back are nowhere to be found, and the section of the Grand Canyon purported to hold this tunnel system is strictly off limits. With conventional research, the trail goes cold. We're left with two possibilities. Either the story is an elaborate, highly detailed hoax put on by two fame-hungry explorers in cahoots with a local newspaper, or the biggest evidence of prehistorical civilization was deliberately covered up. Which way? Which way, Western man?
I mean, again, it's they don't help themselves if it is just this is just like a hoax by locking off the area and saying just be open with it then, like say look, there's nothing there.
But then
right?
again,
you would do, right?
But then again, if neither of these people exist and they didn't find anything, you can't show anybody to the bit where it isn't. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's it. That's the kind of problem, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have to lock it down.
Look, here's the room we put aside for the stuff we never got in the first place. Yeah. Hobbit, did you want to chime in?
Or whatever they call.
What's that, Hobbit?
Hobbit, put your phone in your mouth.
No.
I can't hear you.
Oh, that's it. Can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
I don't know, guys. But anyway, classical buildings in America. What does Smoke say? Who made them? Because, I wonder who made those buildings.
It was the ancestors of the Mongolian African race from Lemuria, right?
They was classical builders and shit.
Yeah. From Mu. No, sorry, it's Mu. Lemuria is in the Indian Ocean. I got that wrong. It's Mu. It's from Mu.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The justified ancients of Moo Moo, did they drive an ice cream van?
Moo Moo milk.
They weren't.
Do you not remember? Oh, fuck, you're
They're
too
not,
young, Andy Fraser, to remember KLF.
I'm
Do you not remember KLF?
No. No.
Oh, they're justified and they're ancient and they drive an ice cream van. They did this whole LARP where they were justified ancients of Moo Moo. So, yeah, if you say Moo, that's what I'm going to think of.
But anyway, yeah, continue before my tangent.
The hoax theory doesn't hold much water. Newspapers used to exist to educate the public, not to sensationalise current events. So, yeah, admission there that newspapers used to contain fact. Like they do now. If the journalist had indeed created this whole scenario from his own vivid imagination, wouldn't he have found some national news source to pick it up? If he was in it for fame, he sure didn't put much effort into pitching the story. And what about Jordan and Kincaid being fictional characters? Though the Smithsonian will say never heard of them. If you dig deep enough, you can find records that contain their names. After the news story was published, however, both men seemed to vanish into thin air. Is this because they never existed or because they'd seen too much? The cover-up theory suggests the Smithsonian and other powers that be have a vested interest in making sure that anything that disproves conventional history, especially a discovery of this magnitude. I mean, yeah, this is the thing that's going on now, isn't it? You know, the science is settled, isn't it?
Yeah. But basically, it's just global warming, but for holes in the ground.
Is especially a discovery of this magnitude is suppressed before it shatters the status quo, the perceived reality. It runs much deeper.
That's it. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, it's like today we are. What history is basically just a religious belief. Like it's not.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to.
No question of it
in any way at all.
It's a faith. It's a belief. You know, it's theoretical not to believe in the canon of 10,000 years ago out of Africa evolution. Unfortunately, and this is what fascinates me is all the oddities towards the official narrative, shall we say, is just how do you it's like in science when they say ghosts don't exist, but then there are examples of maybe
all those silly stonemasons all those silly stonemasons that forgot to put the 1 before the year that they built the building.
Rookie mistake, mate. Especially when you're doing it in the Roman numerals as well. Fucking rookie mistake putting that X. Not putting the X there, right? Just
Hobbit will be home soon. Hobbit, did you have something you wanted to add? No.
Yeah, but it's like
cut off in his prime. I'd probably wait till you get home, Hobbit. It's not quite working.
Are you drowning, Hobbit?
No.
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 Anyway,
I feel
moving on. You said 10.
It runs much deeper than some grumpy old historians having to admit they are wrong. It's becoming increasingly obvious that the ancients were privy to advanced technology, and the monuments and relics they put away for safe keeping are clues to this mystery. The fossil fuel and electricity magnates would be dethroned if humankind had access to all the pieces of the puzzle. Other than our tax dollars, who do you think funds the Smithsonian? That might be an interesting one to have a look at.
Yeah. I wonder how much what is it, the UNESCO site, or how much they've been
the Grand Canyon's a UNESCO site. Did you know that?
Oh well. Another one.
So the people we refer to as Native Americans have many legends that describe pre-Columbian visitation from advanced civilizations. The Hopi legends describe what Jordan and Kincaid found almost exactly. These Native Americans did not mummify their dead, but numerous mummies have been unearthed in North America. They'll tell you the Egyptians, Indians, and other cultures had a great influence on their own. Maybe it's time we listen. The evidence for the Grand Canyon mummies and other claims can be found everywhere except for a history book. What's this? I thought he said that he had the newspaper article in here. That's just comments. The lying little git. Right, I can't find that. Right, I'll do another. So that's just like an editorial. Right, there we go. Right, go on then.
Oh no, I was just linking on the article.
I'll do the next one. In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt wanted to declare the Grand Canyon off limits to all timber and mining operations. It would take another 11 years for Congress to designate the Grand Canyon a national park. Sensing a final opportunity for adventure, explorer G.E. Kincaid took a boat down the Colorado River and through the Grand Canyon. The canyon was rich in minerals like gold, silver and copper, and Kincaid wanted to see what he could find before the area was closed off for good. About 40 miles up river, apparently this is like the hardest way to get anywhere. So about 40 miles upriver from the El Tovar Crystal Canyon, Kincaid saw stains in the sediment formation about 2,000 feet up. He tied off the boat and got out to investigate. Kincaid couldn't find a trail, but after a short hike he found something interesting covered in desert brush. Steps, hundreds of them, carved in sandstone. Steps that wound their way up to a high shelf on the side of the canyon. Now this place now, you're not even allowed to go there without some sort of permit.
Yeah.
He followed the steps until he came across a cavern entrance, an entrance that was clearly man-made. Kincaid entered the cavern and turned on his flashlight. On the walls he saw writing, but it wasn't English or Native American writing, it was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Kincaid lifted his flashlight and saw that the tunnel ran far into the distance. He didn't realise at the time, but this was only the beginning. Why is this? Is there another page somewhere?
No, that's it. I think it's the video, right? It might be the video.
Oh, you have to watch the video. Okay, then. I'll try to find
Yeah.
it. Right, let's try another one. All of these are way too short. My bodies can't be buried. Grand Canyon, Hopi Tale of Ant People. Right, I'm going to have to find some... Oh, let's do this. Let's do this one, and then I'll try and find some more on Kincaid. Caves with Buddha-like idols in the Grand Canyon. Below the Utah-New Mexico border, running along the western edge of sprawling Navajo, Havasupai and Hualapai reservations lands the Colorado River has patiently carved a geological masterpiece. This is what Hobbit wants to talk about, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's totally water, bro. Below the Utah-New Mexico border, running along the western edge of the sprawling Navajo, dominating the landscape beyond the Rocky Mountains, the immense Colorado Plateau stretches 130,000 square miles from the Wyoming border to the north, the Arizona-Nevada border to the east, and beyond the Four Corners region along the Colorado-New Mexico border further east. A thorough exploration of the region would take months, even years. The Grand Canyon alone could take weeks to explore, beyond requisite tourist attractions. The Havasupai people have lived in the canyon for at least 800 years and have successfully fought for restoration of tribal lands taken by the federal government. A travertine dome near the confluence of the Colorado and the Little Colorado rivers is believed to be the Sipapu, or place of emergence by native people. This sacred formation is nameless, simply referred to as Sipapu by indigenous people. Tribal leaders prefer to keep the location private. Few locations on the planet can rival this amazing great wound in the earth, as it was described to Francisco Vasquez de Coronado by the Hopi in 1540, said Christopher O'Brien. We were talking about the Grand Canyon the other week, weren't we? Yeah. You said someone went there, saw nothing, and then later on they went there and it was all there.
Big hole, yeah. There was no mention of it. There was no mention of it in the 1500s. Before, and then, because, this is it. This is what you have to understand. Like, okay, so Columbus set sail to America. the Spanish, then decide to call, go and
1492?
Yeah.
Is it Columbus?
1492, I think something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
1492. Right, 1490s, right? So
Yeah.
then, like from that point on, they went to Mexico, basically, all over the South America and whatever, raiding, conquering, doing all that conquistador shit. And basically, yeah, they marched up as far as California. And at that time, like most of all the land there was owned by the Spanish, and there is no real mention of the Grand Canyon in these like first travels to these new places until much later, which I'll probably go into later actually, because I want to, how old is the Grand Canyon? It's another. We may have another Sahara Desert kind of, just well, here we have some maps and it's not there, and now we have maps and it is there. What's going on here? So yeah, we want to continue this. I'll drag all that stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, the Grand Canyon is so small, it seems.
I can't hear you a bit.
I'm hearing every fourth word. What's it? So, the first documented white man to lay sight on the confluence area. So the confluence area, I'll try and find something in a bit. But the confluence area has all kinds of really bad effects on plane telemetry. I'll do a story in a bit later on about a plane crash in the 50s, and then a park ranger later on saw the ghosts of these people walking through the canyon. So there's the confluence is supposed to be a really, really like dodgy part to be flying in. There's been no end of accidents there. So the first documented white man to lay sight on the confluence area in Marble Canyon was Seth Tanner, a Mormon pioneer married to a Hopi woman. While he had good relations with the Navajo and the Hopi tribes in the region, when the Hopi learned he had seen the sacred site, they blinded him. His wife was spared because of his Hopi wife. His life was spared because of his Hopi wife, but he was told that if he spoke of what he saw, his tongue would be cut out, and obviously he never spoke about it because we don't know about it.
Oh wow! Fucking hell. Jesus.
Yeah. So something got out of it, but obviously not what he actually saw. Then there's the astonishing geology, hoodoos, towering mesas, land bridges, and ancient Vishnu schist. The basement rock found on the canyon floor, 1.8 billion years old, but this isn't the only example of geologic features with names from myth and exotic pantheons. There are also Brahma and Rama schists, the Babylon Cave, Isis Temple, and the Cheops Pyramid, a natural pyramid formed by long, slow erosion. Other pyramid formations bear names like Apollo's temples, Buddha's cloister, and the tabernacle. Somehow, Kincaid scaled the 2,000 feet with great difficulty, hauling his camera and glass plates with him. According to the April 9th, 1909 Arizona Gazette, Kincaid discovered a cave entrance. Upon entering, he discovered what was called the most important archaeological find in North America. Called an underground citadel, the cave was reportedly vast, with hundreds of chambers filled with mummies and artifacts that appeared to be Egyptian. He described a cross hall with a Buddha-like idol sitting cross-legged with a flower in each hand carved out of the chamber walls. Additionally, Kincaid reported vases or urns of copper and gold. I mean, they might be the vases or urns Hobbit was talking about the other day. Enameled and glazed vessels with granaries filled with seed, burial chambers filled with sarcophagi, and countless other wonders. This is a bit like, have you seen National Treasure 2?
Yes.
No, National Treasure.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me a bit like this. It's always reminded me a bit of that. This story.
City of Gold.
Yeah. El Dorado. Oh yeah, it's El Dorado they're after in that one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And they find it beyond the. Beyond the monument, isn't it? I can't remember what it's called.
Washington Monument or whatever.
Yeah.
It's called.
According to the story, Kincaid left the location and arrived in Yuma, Arizona. Shortly after the story was published in the Arizona Gazette, there are rumours of the Smithsonian sending a team of 30 to explore and document the amazing find, but no evidence remains. Shortly after, news stories regarding the discovery evaporated into silence. When queried later, the Smithsonian officials denied institutional relationships with Kincaid or Professor S.A. Jordan. The site and its surroundings in Marble Canyon reportedly acquired by the US government and declared off limits to visitors. A metaphorical door slammed on the entire topic. So explorations in Grand Canyon. Mysteries of the immense rich cavern being brought to light. Jordan is enthused. Remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. Latest news of the progress of the explorations of what is now regarded by scientists as not only the oldest archaeological discovery in the United States, but one of the most valuable in the world, which was mentioned some time ago in the Gazette, was brought to the city yesterday by G.E. Kincaid. It's spelt a couple of different ways, as I said earlier. The explorer who found the great underground citadel of the Grand Canyon during a trip from Green River, Wyoming, down the Colorado in a wooden boat to Yuma several months ago. According to the story related to the Gazette by Mr. Kincaid, the archaeologists of the Smithsonian Institute, which is financing the expeditions, have made discoveries which almost conclusively prove that the race which inhabited this Mysterian cavern, hewn in solid rock by human hands, was of Oriental origin, possibly from Egypt. That's funny how they call Egyptians Oriental, isn't it?
Well, this is it. Well, from the stuff I've read, the thing that like struck people was the doorways into this like citadel place they're talking about. They were oval shaped. Now that's not something that the Egyptians actually like. Their doorways are not, particularly. These were like more, the kind of like Chinese like round doors. You've seen them in, X number of films from that part of the world. Yeah, it's basically the round shape, like the arch shape, circular doors kind of thing. Which again is not Egyptian. So it's kind of when they're saying Egyptian, like, is it because it's got hieroglyphics and that was, all the rage? This is what I was talking to you about the other day. Is it because it's all the rage? It was Egyptology at that time was like booming, like everyone was just.
Wasn't it yet to boom? Didn't it kind of peak in the 30s with the?
No, that was the start of it, like the 1900s.
Was King Tut the end of it?
I
thought the peak. I thought the peak was when they dug up King Tut and what's his name? The one who had the curse.
That was kind of towards the end of it.
32, wasn't it?
It started in like the 1890s, I think. Really. And it was just like everyone was, it was just a fashion those days of everything was about Egypt, So it's kind of like is this because they don't know what it is? It's completely foreign to them, but it looks like something else. So
I think
therefore it must be Egypt.
I think it's possible that it's like some sort of mixture of all three, and that's why they're not really sure what.
It could be. It could be. Yeah, it could be.
Because it says, was Oriental origin, possibly from Egypt. So they're not saying it's definitely from Egypt. They're saying possibly from Egypt, which is kind of weird considering what they found.
Well, we consider the Oriental as like East Asia, right?
Yeah.
But then they're saying possibly from Egypt, which is North Africa.
Possibly from Egypt, tracing back to Ramses. If their theories are borne out by the translation of the tablets engraved with hieroglyphics, the mystery of the prehistoric peoples of North America, their ancient arts, who they were and whence they came, will be solved. Egypt and the Nile and Arizona and the Colorado will be linked by a historical chain running back to ages, which staggers the wildest fancy of the fictionist. A thorough examination under the direction of Professor S.A. Jordan, the Smithsonian Institute, is now prosecuting the most thorough explorations, which will be continued until the last link in the chain is forged. Nearly a mile underground, about 1,480 feet below the surface, the long main passage has been delved into to find another mammoth chamber from which radiates scores of passageways like the spokes of a wheel. Okay, then this has been raked over. Did they, could they have been possibly attacked by something or something like that? Like, is this why it had to disappear? Could there have been something or someone living under there, and they were driven, and these people were driven out? Maybe.
I mean, there are numerous accounts of inner Earth civilizations. Whatever that means. But then again, I don't know. To me, why would you build it underground? Was it a burial chamber then? Was it a tomb? What's that thing? You know where they filmed Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? That's carved into the rock, isn't it? Oh, is it Petra?
Is it Petra? Is it? No, I mean that's carved into the rock, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So possibly, there's the links there, isn't there?
True. But again, it's full of dead bodies. So, was this a tomb? Why is it 2,000 feet up? And I've heard the copes of the official narrative. People who believe in the official narrative and want to say that. Well,
it's 2,000 feet up from the river. So
yes, and they're saying, oh well, 10,000 years ago, the river would have been right on that line there. That's kind of what I've heard from the people who still believe the official narrative. Kind of.
Yeah. But it's all I'm saying is it's 2,000 feet up. You don't know how far.
But they just want to say,
it's probably about the same down from the top, isn't it? I should imagine.
Right. Yeah. Again, it's ever since the mud flood stuff, kind of,
Yeah.
It's like, why is shit buried? Is this another instance of this is just something that's been buried and the canyon itself is a natural disaster thing? Part of this mud flood thing, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I'd say I don't know about if there's anything living down there. I mean, there's no proof of that.
Well, if there were like a lizard people or whatever living underneath there,
True.
They wouldn't admit it, would they?
But why would they? The mummies looked human, right? They were taller, but they were human. There's nothing inhuman, right? And why would lizard people keep mummies of humans?
Well, let's carry on, see if we find out any more. So the long main passage has been delved into to find another mammoth chamber from which radiates scores of passageways like the spokes of a wheel. Several hundred rooms have been discovered, reached by passageways running from the main passage, one of them having been explored for 854 feet and another 634 feet. The recent finds include articles which have never been known as native to this country. Undoubtedly, they had their origin in the Orient. So the thing, so what they're saying is they don't really know where the fuck this stuff come from.
Yeah.
So we're saying so we're saying from the looks of it, it's some sort of parallel Egyptian society. Or
it could be a society that it was kind of a branch civilization that kind of split off then and was the progenitor of the Egyptian civilization. But then if you go back and look at Egyptian history, Egyptians claim that the Thoth, was it Thoth, was the originator of the first Egyptian language and recorded history. And he was, credited to being part of, something like Atlantis, kind of. It all goes back to the myth of Atlantis kind of thing. Which I mean, most people don't know that actually Atlantis didn't actually sink into the sea. You know that, right?
Yeah.
That's another, should we say, Chinese whisper?
That was Plato that said that, wasn't it? That it sank into the sea.
No, he didn't actually. He didn't say that. It was destroyed in one day.
Oh,
He didn't
right,
say
okay.
it sank into the sea. It's a Chinese whisper, right?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so people assume it
So-
sank into the sea.
Yes, because it must have been an island. Said it was an island nation, right?
Which technically the US would be, if if it was
Yeah,
quote
exactly.
unquote uninhabited.
Mhm.
The recent finds include articles which have never been known as natives to this country, and doubtless they had their origin in the Orient. War weapons, copper instruments, sharp-edged and hard as steel indicate. This
Steel?
is weird. Copper instruments, sharp-edged and hard as steel.
Okay. It's
Indicate.
hard as steel.
Yeah, copper
Wow.
instruments, hard as steel. So this is weird. Indicate the
Well,
high
actually,
state.
being hard, but that's not copper, is it?
Yeah,
So it's a metal that looks like copper then, but it's unknown
yeah.
if it's. It won't be bronze, right? No, that's not as hard as steel, right?
I think that's quite brittle. Isn't that quite brittle? Well, if people sculpt with it, I'd say it's fairly soft, fairly pliable.
Mm.
So interested have the scientists become that preparations are being made to equip the camp for extensive studies, and the force will be increased to 30 or 40 persons. Mr. Kincaid's report. Mr. Kincaid was the first white child born in Idaho. Okay, interesting. And has been an explorer and hunter all his life. 30 years having been in the service of the Smithsonian Institute. This is the guy that says Smithsonian don't even know he existed. Even briefly recounted, his history sounds fabulous, almost grotesque. First, I would impress that the cavern is nearly inaccessible. The entrance is 1,486 feet down a sheer canyon wall. So it's 2,000 up, 1,400 down. So like we said, it's about in the middle.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's located on government land, and no visitor will be allowed there under penalty of trespass. Scientists who wish to work unmolested without fear of archaeological discoveries being disturbed by curio or relic hunters. A trip there would be fruitless, and the visitor would be sent on his way. The story of how I found the cavern has been related, but in a paragraph. I was journeying down the Colorado River in a boat, alone, looking for mineral. Some 42 miles down the river from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, I saw on the east wall stains in the sedimentary formation about 2,000 feet above the river bed. There was no trail to this point, but I finally reached it with great difficulty. Above a shelf which hid it from view from the river was the mouth of a cave. There are steps leading from this entrance some 30 yards to what was. At the time, the cavern was in there are steps leading from this entrance some 30 yards to what was at the time the cavern was inhabited. The level of the river. Doesn't quite make sense. Sorry, I can't make that make sense.
Yeah. So they're basically saying that at the time, the river level would have been higher.
Yeah.
Thus inhabited.
Ah, right. At the time the cavern was inhabited, the level of the river. Right, yes. That's really badly worded. When I saw the chisel marks on the wall inside the entrance, I became interested, securing my gun and went in. During that trip, I went back several hundred feet along the main passage till I came to the crypt which I discovered the mummies. One of these I stood up and photographed by flashlight. I gathered a number of relics which I carried down the Colorado to Yuma, from whence I shipped them to Washington with details of the discovery. Following this, the explorations were undertaken. The main passageway is about 12 feet wide, narrowing to 9 feet towards the farther end. About 57 feet from the entrance, the first side passages branch off to the right and left, along which on both sides are a number of rooms about the size of ordinary living rooms of today, although some are 30 by 40 feet square. These are entered by oval-shaped doors, so there's your oval-shaped doors, and are ventilated by round air spaces through the walls into the passages. The walls are about 3 feet 6 inches in thickness. The passages are chiselled or hewn as straight as could be laid out by an engineer. The ceilings of many of the rooms converge to a centre. The side passages near the entrance run at a sharp angle from the main hall, but toward the rear they gradually reach a right angle in direction. The shrine. Over 100 feet from the entrance is the cross hall, several hundred feet long, which are found the idol or image of the people's god, sitting cross-legged with a lotus flower or lily in each hand. So here's where the Oriental comes in. So lotus flower or lily is like particularly, I'd say it's particularly like Chinese, Japanese, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
The cast of the face is Oriental.
Even Thailand, maybe.
Could be. The cast of the face is Oriental, and the carving this cavern. The cast of the face is Oriental, and the carving this cavern. I think in this cavern, I think he means. The idol almost resembles Buddha, though the scientists are not as certain to what religious worship it represents. So these things, they're almost easy to do, easy to place, but not quite. So there's obviously, so these people know what they're. Let's assume these people know their shit. They're looking at this stuff and they're going, yeah, it is, but it's not quite.
Yeah.
So this indicates some sort of branch or parallel version of, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Taking into consideration everything found thus far, it is possible that this worship most resembles the ancient people of Tibet. Surrounding this idol are smaller images, some very beautiful in form, others crooked-necked and distorted shapes, symbolical probably of good and evil. There are 2 large cactus with protruding arms, one on each side of the dais on which the god squats. All this is carved out of hard rock resembling marble. In the opposite corner of this cross hall were found tools of all descriptions made of copper. These people undoubtedly knew the lost art of hardening this metal, which has been sought by chemicals for centuries without result. I assume he means by chemists for centuries.
Yes. Or alchemists, maybe. Yeah.
Alchemists, chemists, yeah. On a bench running around the workroom was some charcoal and some other material probably used in the process. There was also slag and stuff similar to mat, showing that these ancients smelted ores, but so far no trace of where or how this was done has been discovered, nor the origin of the ore. Among the other finds are vases or urns and cups of copper and gold, made very artistic in design. The pottery work include. Go on then, Hobbit.
I've been listening. You know, I've been trying to shout stuff.
We heard about one word in 4, Hobbit.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. It strikes me. Doesn't it strike you as odd? It's like all these things which would counteract the narrative of, men and horse and cart built the White House, the Texas Capitol, and all these other buildings.
Yeah.
Whilst they were making like wood clap buildings for themselves.
Yeah.
Better show off this canyon with its weird inscriptions. And, oh yes, the Cheops Pyramid, which just naturally occurring right angles, water erosion. LOL.
Do you think like America has always been like some sort of multicultural hellhole? So think about it like back in the day there was like parallel America. So there was a bit of the Orientals were there, the Egyptians were there, possibly the Indians, the Romans, all of these people. Do you think it was like the same thing as America is now, but back then?
I honestly can't say. I mean, you could say like the Indians are some sort of mongrel race and they're not really people. I don't know.
I mean, it could be they're just like living in the ruins of much like we are living in the ruins of a more advanced society.
Yeah.
So, what do you think to this then, Hobbit? That these people have managed to harden gold into harden copper into like a steel type substance.
Well, immediately I thought about phosphor bronze because it's a hard-wearing material which is non-ferrous and it's used for bearings.
But let's assume these people know their shit, and let's assume that they know their shit and they know it's definitely copper.
Let me see. Copper as hard as steel. Let's see if I can find anything.
So anyway, so we've talked about the urns. The pottery work includes enamelled ware and glazed vessels. Another passageway leads to granaries, such as are found in the Oriental temples. They contain seeds of various kinds. One very large storehouse has not yet been entered, as it is 12 feet high and can be reached only from above. So I'd say that they dump into there then, wouldn't they? 2 copper hooks extend on the edge, which indicates some sort of ladder was attached. These granaries are rounded, as the materials of which they are constructed, I think, is a very hard cement. So here we go. Is that cement again? You know, the Roman once in a lifetime cement.
Yeah.
Magical can't replicate this now cement.
Yeah. A grey metal is also found in this cavern, which puzzles the scientists, for its identity has not been established. It resembles platinum. Strewn promiscuously over the floor. Love that word. Strewn promiscuously over the floor. Everywhere are what people call cat's eyes, a yellow stone of no great value. Each one is engraved with the head of the Malay type. The hieroglyphics on all the urns, walls, over doorways, and the tablets of stone which are found by the image are the mysterious hieroglyphics, the key to which the Smithsonian Institute hopes yet to discover. So this is why they think why they're not sure what it is. So this seems like some sort of branch. It seems like a branch society, doesn't it?
Or a precursor society.
Precursor branch. Yeah, it could be well, it just could be the difference between, English and American English, couldn't it? Especially with hieroglyphics.
Okay, well, look at what we've got here is 2 different things, isn't it? Like, we've got hieroglyphics, which are normally attributed to, like, the Egyptians, and then we have the Oriental kind of Buddha figure with the lotuses. That's more attributed to places like Thailand, like China, stuff like that. Tibet, as they say. That region, Southeast Asia region, right?
Yeah, because I'm assuming that these people are experts and they know what they're talking about. So this is why they're saying it's some sort of Oriental Egyptian hybrid society, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Unless also it could be that one came there before and then the others came after. There could be that as well. Like, they could not be related at all, right?
Well, no, because if either one had come after, they wouldn't have either used hieroglyphics, or the hieroglyphics would have been standard hieroglyphics, wouldn't they?
Or they just repurposed the room, kind of. But then again, it's like, why would you build 2,000 feet up or down? Why would you build in the middle of this 4,000 foot drop?
They did that in Machu Picchu as well. Like, it's far away from any source of food or water, and yet they built it up there. Why?
Mm.
Yeah. It's just bizarre, right? But the location is one thing as well. Like, why would you build it there, and the only thing you do with it is put tools and mummies in there or something? Well,
it seems there were living spaces.
It
seems there were living spaces there as well, though, doesn't it?
Right.
Because you've got all these rooms, haven't you? So the engraving on the tables probably has something to do with it.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? I mean, most people, I don't know if many people know this, but like Tibetan monks there's this art of mummifying yourself. By Tibetan monks, basically, they tie ropes around their ankles and hands and basically just meditate until they die, and then they mummify themselves. You heard of that?
Yeah, but let's assume these people know what they're talking about. They would have mentioned that, wouldn't they? If the people.
Well, this is what I'm just saying, right? Are these mummies like actually Egyptian style mummies where the body's been? I think
they go into some detail about the mummies later on.
Right. Okay.
So, the engraving on the tables probably has something to do with the religion of the people. Similar hieroglyphics have been found in southern Arizona. Among the pictorial writings, only 2 animals were found. One is of prehistoric type. The crypt, or the two.
What?
One is of two animals are found among the pictorial writings. So there's a picture. Right. There are 2 animals in the pictures. One is of prehistoric type, so we're saying some sort of dinosaur, I assume.
Okay. What type of
I don't know. That's all they say. It says the crypt. You can see if you can find out some more, Fraser, if you want.
Yeah.
The crypt, or the tomb or crypt in which the mummies were found, is one of the largest of the chambers, the walls slanting back at an angle of about 35 degrees. On these are tiers of mummies, each one occupying a separate hewn shelf. Albert,
Right.
did you say something, Albert?
Yeah, a reluctor ring and jacking wheels up. I apologise for being preoccupied, but I'm like, this sounds expensive, and yeah.
At the head of each is a small bench on which is found copper cups and pieces of broken swords. Some of the mummies are covered with clay, and all are wrapped in a bark fabric. The urns or cups on the lower tiers are crude, while as the higher shelves are reached, the urns are finer in design. So obviously plebs at the bottom, dignitaries at the top, I assume, showing a later stage of civilization. It is worthy of note that all the mummies examined so far have proved to be male. No children or females are being buried here. This leads to the belief that this exterior section was the warriors' barracks. Among the discoveries, no bones of animals have been found, no skins, no clothing, no bedding. Many of the rooms are bare, but for water vessels. One room, about 40 by 700 feet, was probably the main dining hall. For cooking utensils are found here. What these people lived on is a problem, though. It is a problem, though it is presumed that they came south in the winter and farmed in the valleys, going back north in the summer. Upwards of 50,000 people could have lived in the caverns comfortably. One theory is that the present Indian tribes found in Arizona are descendants of the serfs or slaves of the people which inhabited the cave. Undoubtedly, a good many thousands of years before the Christian era, a people lived here which reached a high stage of civilization. The chronology of human history is full of gaps. Professor Jordan is much enthused over the discoveries and believes that the find will prove of incalculable value in archaeological work. One thing I've not spoken of may be of interest. There is one chamber of the passageway to which is not ventilated, and when we approached, a deadly snaky smell struck us. Our light would not penetrate the gloom, and until stronger ones are available, we will not know what the chamber contains. Some say snakes, but others boo-hoo this idea and think it may contain a deadly gas or chemicals used by the ancients. No sounds are heard, but it smells snaky just the same. Does anybody know what snaky smells like? The whole underground installation gives one of shaky nerves the creeps. The gloom is like a weight on one's shoulders, and our flashlights and candles only make the darkness blacker. Imagination can revel in conjectures and ungodly daydreams back through the ages that have elapsed till the mind reels dizzily in space. There's a couple of links. There's one on the other top, I think. So what do you think to that then?
Well, the said room. Yeah, I don't know.
It's.
I mean, snaky smell. I mean, it could be something rotting in there because it's been unoccupied for 1,000 years. The smell would have dissipated by then, right? So
yeah. It's
probably maybe mineral or something like water. Like, I don't know. Something must be giving off that, damp. I'm guessing it's a damp kind of smell. I don't know. Snaky smell.
Yeah, it's a snaky smell. It smells like snakes. Everyone knows what snakes smell like.
Yeah. Gonna sniff a snake. I mean, is it toxic then? Venomous kind of? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what snaky smell is. It's a bit weird.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's interesting. So the mummies weren't do-it-yourself kind of Tibetan style.
Well, it seems like they're saying there's some sort of like labour force, or maybe they were some sort of fighting force, but they went there and they farmed. I think is what they're saying. Well,
this could be linked into the idea that Earth is a quarry. And we were just here to we were here to mine it. We were the shall we say, the slave race. There is that theory. It could be, they could be a warrior kind of, mining operation there, I guess.
So this one's an interview. I don't know whether this will read. I don't know whether this scans well. Let's just read this. So this is an interview. There's a guy called Hank Crustman, and he claims, the guy who had his eyes poked out and threatened to have his tongue cut off. Very much like him, he was taken by a Hopi Indian to a portal in the Grand Canyon. So, interview with Dr. Hank Crustman. How did you become involved in your research, particularly in your study of the Hopi Indians in Inner Earth? Please call me Hank. In 1961, while attending classes at the University of Northern Arizona, I met a young blue-eyed, blonde-headed fellow student named Carl Coppervy Waltz of the Waltz clan of the Hopi Nation. Through conversation, I learned that he was a Hopi Indian with a Dutch ancestor and was planning on becoming a teacher. The name Carl Waltz came from his great-great-grandfather Jacob Waltz, who was from Holland. Hobbit's off this one already then. As I was also from Holland, this became our bond. Is this too Dutch for you, Hobbit? Oh, is he eating or something?
On the phone.
He's got some soup. He's getting himself some soup. I learned that Jacob Waltz was well known to Western history buffs as the Lost Dutchman, the holder of the secret of the Lost Dutchman mine in Arizona's Superstition Mountains. You ever heard about the mine of the Lost Dutchman? The Lost Dutchman's mine?
Nope.
Apparently,
sorry.
It's a famous mine where someone found it once, tried to go back and never found it again. Type of, the one that's full to the brim, but the bloke just couldn't pick any of it up. I suppose we might talk about that sometime. I will go into this detail in my upcoming, but it's just flogging his book. Kabafi and I became close friends, and as time went on, he told me many things. That made such good sense. Let's try and flick through. This is getting a bit bored. Right, so that's right. It's actually an entrance. Oh, right, okay. I've skipped a bit too much. So the Lost Dutchman mine never existed. That's right. It's actually the entrance to the inner lands, as I learned later. It's just one of many entrances found around the world. I was also amazed to learn that Kapavi was actually from the underground city of Palataquapi. I just love
Easy
those
for you to say.
I do struggle with those red Indian names. One day, Kapavi asked if I'd actually like to see the entrance to the underground. I was thrilled. Note, the Hopis and Cherokee believe that the Pueblo Indians had in the most ancient times taken up residence within an underground cavern world, and after a long period of time emerged once again onto the surface. Some say that reptilian humanoids drove them to the surface. Other versions state that some of the underground Hopi turned to practicing sorcery and made things bad for the rest, while other versions state that an underground flood forced them to seek refuge topside. Some versions say they emerged through a cavern, other through a mound, and still other versions state that the portal of emergence, the Sipapu or the Sipapuni, lies hidden under a pool of yellowish water. Most of the Hopi versions agree with the location of the Sipapu, somewhere along the Little Colorado River, a short ways upstream from its confluence with the Colorado River. The Sipapu is considered one of the most sacred sites of the Hopi people. Yeah, it's funny. It sounds a little bit Atlantis-y, doesn't it?
Mm.
It was a flood. They fucked it up through maybe cloning. Do you think cloning cloning and DNA is the precursor to the? It seems to be the precursor to the Poxy clips, doesn't it?
I reckon that stuff happened with the Nephilim.
Well, no, isn't the apocalypse kind of precursor by like hybrid forms and shit? Like chimeras, right?
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like fucking around with DNA seems to be the start of the apocalypse, doesn't it?
When you get Nephilim crossbreeding with humans and doing all sorts of weird, bizarre genetic experiments.
And what have we started doing?
Oh, more than that, though. CRISPR, gene editing, that's so last century. Now it's all about AI. Yeah, let's give demons voices. Tom Simpson says, I hate Sipu. Yep.
Sipu. First, we went to the Grand Canyon where we hired 2 donkeys. Carl assured me that the donkeys were sure-footed, but I wasn't so sure once we started to climb. The trail became small and full of rocks, and from time to time I could feel the donkey's hind legs slip on the smooth, loose slate. All I could do was hold on and try to shut the sound of loosened rock as it clattered down the cliffside to the ground below. Finally, we came to a wide spot on the trail, and I was able to breathe again. We took our breather on a small plateau from which the panoramic view of... What's that?
It's like, Grandad, what did you do? I shot myself on a donkey climbing up a hill.
Do you reckon it was all really, really safe, but the bloke kept throwing bits of slate off the edge?
The reason that donkey was slipping was the shit running out your pants.
Yeah. Plateau from which the panoramic view of the Grand Canyon spread out below. When I saw it, this is the bit. Right, okay, that's fine. Spread out below, displaying the rich earth colours found only in the American Southwest. Carl brought out a blindfold and explained while he had secured permission from the Council of 9 for me to enter these sacred grounds, he'd been requested to cover my eyes from here on out. The rest of the ride into the canyon was terrifying, to say the least. So not only was he shit himself, now he's blindfolded and shitting himself. How much time had passed I did not know, but I was too busy hanging on to the saddle of the small brave beast. After what seemed to be an eternity, we came to a stop and Carl removed my blindfold. As my eyes adjusted to the bright sunlight again, I looked around. We were in a large clearing flush against the canyon wall. Carl motioned for me to climb down from my now uncomfortable perch as he did the same. After stretching my tensed-up body, I turned to Carl, who was standing next to the sheet cliff wall. "Put your hands up against the wall right here," he said, pointing to the solid rock face, I think that's supposed to say. I did as he asked. Go on then.
So I was saying about phosphor bronze being hard wearing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a table now: types of metals, tensile strength, yield strength.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, no tensile strength readings for brass and copper. I'm not sure why, but the yield strength of phosphor bronze is 55,000 psi.
What steel?
Compared to A36 grade steel is 36,000 psi, and stainless steel 304 is 40,000 psi. So phosphor bronze has got a greater yield strength, which is again why it's used in bearings.
Could you mistake phosphor bronze for copper though?
Bronze and copper are different colours. Bronze is yellowy, whereas bronze is more orange.
You're thinking of brass. Bronze is copper coloured, but phosphor bronze is not.
If you put a flame on bronze, does bronze go green like copper does?
I haven't worked with bronze enough to say, but phosphor bronze does. Let me just have a look. Phosphor bronze, because unfortunately the only ones I was dealing with were literally 80-year-old bearings. And they're, here's a picture of a ship's screw made out of phosphor bronze, and it's black and green. Yeah, it's got green verdigris on it.
Oh, okay then. So it could be mistaken for copper then.
So bronze...
They were saying it was stronger than steel, weren't they?
Yeah, which phosphor bronze...
Because Hobbit said the yield strength is 55,000.
I don't know what the So on the Rockwell hardness scale, phosphor bronze is 78. Stainless steel 304 is 88, and steel A36 there's no data for it. And then there's also density. It doesn't really matter, does it, density?
So what's better, steel or bronze?
It really depends on what application. If you want a hard-wearing bearing that lasts a long time, phosphor bronze.
Would you make a axe or a sword out of it?
Yes, but it'll be in terms of metallurgy and cost, a steel axe would be a lot cheaper than a bronze axe. The idea...
They thought of it like that, right? It seems to be like...
No, but think about it, Fraser. You're dealing with... bronze in itself is already a complicated material because you've got to have the knowledge of alloys. And that means you need to have access to tin. Right? which aren't always available in the same mine shaft. I mean, that's why in antiquity you'd have to get copper from Cyprus and tin from Cornwall. Steel you can make pretty much anywhere. You got iron, great. You got charcoal, right? Now you're making steel. But phosphor bronze, no. You reduce the bronze in a crucible furnace, and you run phosphorus over it in order to drive out the oxygen. So you got to have like phosphorus, and phosphorus refining is quite advanced stuff. But this is the thing: the Bronze Age.
They were saying they were an advanced civilization.
Yeah, no,
they'd hardened copper.
Well, I have no idea. I have no doubt in my mind about it, because the thing is, the Bronze Age civilization was more advanced and a better communication than the Iron Age civilization. Yeah. The Iron Age civilization was a regression.
Yeah.
Oh, Biarki says some tin was taken from the Iberian coast. Point standing, you don't find copper and tin in the same place. You've got to have like inter-nations. You've got to have an inter-sea trade in order to make bronze. You don't need that for iron. And Tom Simpson says tin is extremely rare.
Mm. I mean, so they're saying hardening copper or bronze was the more viable method. Then is what they're saying.
I'm thinking it was almost like a status symbol. They're saying like, look, we're advanced enough. We can make phosphor bronze, aren't we? Cool.
So anyway, his mate tells him to get his both hands against the wall and pucker up. Put your hand against the wall right here. He said, pointing to the solid rock face. I did as asked, my hand didn't stop. He continued right through the wall. It seemed the cliff wall was only a created illusion to keep unwanted people away. Actually, it was the entrance to a large secret cave called Popovi. As we walked inside, I was amazed to find the cave was brightly lit. Before us was a sort of escalator-type device which you lay down on. Escalator. That's a bit weird, isn't it? There was some sort of transparent bubble which covered...
Travelator.
Yeah, so lay down travelator. You have to lay on it and then you get covered by a bubble, which covered you, called a Howiovi, I think. However, my heart was beating fast, so I stood looking at this strange sight as I caught my breath. Now I have a confession to make. For years I've been telling people this is as far as I went. I lied. I was told not to reveal any more than this. However, I've now been given permission to tell the rest of the story. Actually, I did proceed from this point all the way into the underground Hopi city of fucking Indians. Palatiquapi. I am putting the whole story in a book to be entitled Kapavi, which I'm currently working on. Oh, really? You've just unveiled this stuff just in time for your new book. Wow, this is quite a revelation. So you took this Howivovi to Palatiquapi. Fuck off. You took this Howivovi to Palatiquapi.
Just do what I do with foreign names. Just anglicise them. It's Preston. Yeah. It's Paul.
I'm trying to.
You rowed a boat.
Penzance.
Only part of the way at the bottom of the escalator, which travels at the speed of light. Look.
Whoa! Okay. You might be fake, mate. You might have been tripping.
Are you not gonna get a little bit of fucking friction burn on an escalator which travels the speed of light? We boarded a Patuwova. This is like reading fucking Polish. This is.
We went on to the escalator which went at the speed of light, and then saw the speedometer, and it's like saying you're now going at the speed of light. I thought, oh wow, this. I mean, it feels like 4 miles an hour to me, but the speedo says speed of light, so best to believe that.
Or flying machine which moved through. I preferred it when he just said he went through the tunnel, and that's that.
I mean,
and he turned back.
Did the speedo have like others, like light speed, hyper speed, ludicrous speed, Blade?
I thought it was. I thought it was half the speed of light, but obviously it was the speed of light.
Can't we just have super speed? Like, can we not just say super?
Look, it's going to Blade.
Can't we just have standards and not talking bullshit in fucking people who've been to Indian
I just want to do my Spaceballs reference because I don't know anything about this subject.
I got it, Hobbit. We boarded. Nobody
did you
does.
Like it?
Nobody does, not even me.
We ain't found shit.
Speed of light, we boarded Patu of Over, or Flying Machine, which moved through the subterranean tunnels and energy fields. I will go into detail about all this, but buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book. It's book for you and me. Yes, I realise that your time is
my book. It's just got to look for it.
Just buy his
my book.
Just buy his fucking book. Yes, I realise your time is almost up and you have another engagement, which is selling your book. But can you ask her a few more questions? Well, I might be able to, but I've got a book to sell. Oh, I do have to go, but yes, I'll answer a few. Upon exiting the Patu of Over, what did you see? We first went into a large... Fuck you. Fuck you. I went into a large cave room called the Pussy V. And my friend and guide said, "Welcome to Twanasavi, the centre of the world." He's just fucking making this shit up, isn't he? The large room had many doors all around with strange markings on them. Carl explained that the doors were an added precaution in case an unauthorised person penetrated the area. They wouldn't know which door leads to the city. Only they could just open them and see if they do. I understood without him saying anything that you didn't want to open the wrong door. Could be this or could be that. This... I don't know what that means. What does that mean? This was an underground intersection to different realms. If, however, one happened to make it that far, I would suggest nonetheless that extreme caution would be advised. Branton. Don't know. Carl walked up to one of the doors, placed his hand over a symbol in the centre, and we entered a clean white room with a purple light glow called the Pauamu or Pauamu Woo Chippy. It just looks like Woo Woo Chippy. How do you pronounce
Woo Woo Chippy?
How do you pronounce?
That sounds like.
How do you pronounce CHPI?
Yeah.
That's Woo Woo Chippy, isn't it?
The Woo Woo Chippy is like a chip shop founded by one of those millennial women with a bubbly personality from the north who's going to revolutionise the fish and chip shop by, get this right, making a fish and chip shop. But it's going to have a pink neon sign in, which is actually LEDs, but don't tell it. Chippy. And now it's the Woo Woo Chippy, which has got a ladies' night. What's different from a ladies' night?
It's the Pauamu Woo Woo Chippy. It's not just any old chippy. It's the Pauamu Woo Woo Chippy.
So what is it? Is it going to have like hula music on it, and like you can have like pineapple on your fish? Or...
Yeah.
So
as long as they have spam fritters, I'll be happy.
Oh, by the way, Scuggy says, "What happened to your Tuesday show, Emmy? Why is there no Tuesday show?"
We left it open. We left it open for Scuggy.
Yeah, that's it. So
yeah,
Scuggy come back.
I can't see Scuggy. When did he say something?
Oh well, he came back. No, he didn't say it in the chat. He said it like a few weeks ago when he did. Well,
if Scuggy wants to come back, Scuggy can be the centre of it. Anyway, Hobbit, it's not a Woo Woo Chippy. It's a Pauamu Woo Woo Chippy or purification room. Yeah, I'll have the. That's where all negatives and bacteria are removed from our bodies, both outside and inside.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I have a couple of slices of gammon.
Like New Age chick stuff, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
only then can you enter the city of Palataquapi. So you have to go through customs, and then you're there in Palataquapi. There is so much I want to ask. I don't know where to start. Palataquapi located in the subterranean world of tunnels, or is it located on the other side of the mantle, or the inner world? Inner world.
Yeah, I'll have the pineapple fritters, the roast gammon, and chips.
You're saying the people that dance around in feathers to call rain?
Yeah.
Built
the Woo Woo Chippy.
An underground city, right?
The Woo Woo Chippy.
Is that just, I know they don't do that now, but this is like, probably this is hundreds of years ago, right?
Do you not want to know what Woo Woo Chippy's like on the inside?
Yeah, go on.
Palataquapi. It's located on the surface of the inner world. What colour was the sky? Was it red? No, the sky is a beautiful blue, no clouds, and the sun was stationary in the sky. The air was the freshest I'd breathed. Can you describe what the city looks like? Sure, the houses were all built in the Greek style, with columns and red tile roofs. The rooms are... What does he mean by the Greek style? What is the Greek style?
Does the Greek style mean sub-Saharan African? There's a Cleopatra documentary coming out, which I'm sure we're all very excited to see. Very historically authentic.
Oh, is that the one with Wonder Woman as Cleopatra?
I don't know, but the actress that plays Cleopatra, her hair resembles Velcro.
Oh, right. No, there's. I thought Gal Gadot was supposed to be Cleopatra in a film.
Is that a Cardassian?
No, Gal Gadot was Wonder Woman in the Justice League.
I know Gul Dukat. He was like the former owner of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I thought you meant the other type of Cardassian.
Yes. They
That's
had
the worst kind of Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian's acting. Can you imagine how bad Kim Kardashian's acting is?
Okay, attention, Pajora workers. My nails just cracked. So your food ration has been cancelled for the next 2 weeks. Okay, thanks. Bye.
They do. Oh, do they do tato fritters in the Woo Woo Chippy? I don't know.
They better do them.
Yeah. So they're in the Greek style Hobbit, like covered in yogurt. I don't know. Some. The rooms are all open and hairy. I mean, airy with no glass in the open windows. There are gardens with bright blooming flowers and plants everywhere. It's very quiet, other than the soft rush of wind, which was constant. Was it something? Yeah. They didn't clean out these gut bacteria properly, obviously. I learned this wind is called Aponivi. he's just making Aponivi. And he's pulled in from the north and south polar openings by machines which are powered by the inner sun.
We're in the Hollow Earth, boys. We're in the fucking Hollow Earth.
We're in Hollow Earth, lads, with air conditioning. Openings by machines which are powered by the inner sun, then blown back through the tunnels to the surface of the earth in hundreds of places. This was, when you're walking along and your skirt gets blown in the air, that's why.
Yeah. Hollow Earth did it.
This system was designed to compensate for gravitational pull and centrifugal force of the Earth and the heat of the sun in order to maintain.
You know how beneficial
the gravity.
that would be to like young boys when they're going through puberty at school, like to see up the girls' skirts.
Yeah.
Never happened, did it?
And it's got a constant temperature of 76 degrees.
Yeah.
76
degrees.
Yeah. Fahrenheit. That'll be Fahrenheit,
or,
Yank. It's Yank, so it'll be Fahrenheit.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'd say, I was like, 76 degrees fucking Celsius. Jesus Christ. I just burn.
Do you want to do about the Hopi tale of the ant people?
Yes, go on, might as well.
Right, here we go.
Some ant coming.
There's a Giant's Cave as well. Prior installments in the series. Others attempt to find the Giant's Cave, Google Earth Survey, Grand Canyon Mummies versus Death Valley Post. This is post number 6 we're reading now. Today's instalment of the series, Dennis Gurn and I look at the Hopi people's legend of the First World and Second World and the ant people who helped Kiva. Oh, helped. Full stop. Kiva. Link. Sipapu is a Hopi word for small hole or indentation in the floor of a kiva or pit house. Kivas were used by the ancestral Puebloans, and continue to be used by modern day. I'm bad at pronouncing this shit anyway. It's like they're just really testing me now, aren't they? The Sipapu symbolises the portal through which their ancient ancestors first emerged to enter the present world. Hopi mythology and similar traditions in other Pueblo cultures, such as the Zuni and Acoma, states that this is the hole from which the first peoples of the world entered. As they stepped at your mum's hole, as they stepped outside of the Sipapu, they changed from lizard-like beings into Homo sapiens or human form. See Waters 1963 and later reprints.
Whoa! Are they saying we are the shape-shifting reptiles?
We was lizards. They just turned from lizards into Homo sapiens.
Is this just a metaphor for a young boy?
Fresh air, bit of water, sorts those scales out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Aye. magic. Just like that.
It is
Bang,
from this point that the
scales
first...
are gone.
Barry Scott did it, sorted them out. It is from this point that the first peoples of the earth began to divide and separate, creating differing tribes along the first journeys of the first humans. The original Sipapu is said to be located in the Grand Canyon. Sometimes legends really do carry bits of truth, but stories may be so mundane as to be not passed on by the listeners. Some embellishment to retain the seriousness of the matter is necessary. What? You what, mate?
It is some logic for you. To make sure people understand, the seriousness of the thing.
You gotta hype it up a bit.
Yeah.
If you hype it up, that makes it more serious. Do they believe their people emerged from a hole in the Grand Canyon area? Let's look at the legend of the worlds. The Hopi Indians have lived on the high desert of northern Arizona for thousands of years. This barren but beautiful landscape was the place where Hopi gods directed them to build a number of villages made up of pueblos, what we would call stone apartment complexes. Here the Hopi managed to flourish by simply growing corn, beans and squash, with very little rainfall and almost no irrigation. One of the most intriguing Hopi legends involves the ant people, who were crucial to the survival of the Hopi, not just once but twice. The so-called First World, or World Age, was apparently destroyed by fire, possibly some sort of volcanism, asteroid strike, or coronal mass ejection from the sun. The second world, this is right in Hobbit's territory. Hobbit loves a bit of coronal mass ejection story, don't you, Hobbit?
Oh yeah.
The second world was, but it's funny how these things kind of go around and around. I mean, the destruction of the first world is much like what we call the destruction of like the dinosaurs, doesn't it? Asteroid strike, coronal mass ejection, all that kind of thing. The second world was destroyed by.
Talk about it as well.
Yeah.
Talk about the Age of Fire
and the flood. There are a number of things that are like universal, almost universal truths, aren't they? The second.
Well, here's the thing. Well, yeah, it might be the same thing. I mean, for them, it might have been because they were inland.
I think we might end up doing a part 2 on this one. Because I've still got some more to fit in. The second one was destroyed by ice. Ice Age glaciers are a pole shift. During these two global cataclysms, the virtuous members of the Hopi tribe were guided by an odd-shaped cloud during the day and a moving star at night that led them to the sky god named Sotuknang, who finally took them to the ant people in Hopi Anu Sinom. The ant people then escorted the Hopi into subterranean caves where they found refuge and sustenance. It's interesting to note that certain tribes seem to have a jump in technology. The Hopi speak of being able to eke out some growing and crops. Not really any irrigation to speak of, but then the Hohokam tribe had an extensive canal system. Are we saying that Arizona was the Venice of America, was it? The mummies of the Grand Canyon supposedly had seed supplies stored away in their cave. These were a people who likely farmed. Did they teach the Hopi ancestors more advanced methods of farming? Did they take them into their caves and house them, or help them to survive some catastrophe above? The newspaper report mentioned that tens of thousands could have lived underground in these caverns. It's always interesting to find a native legend that might correlate with actual encounters and events. The story of the Grand Canyon mummies was to some a hoax or fictional fun, but when the native people of the area have a legend that supports it, one has to wonder.
When you mention about that, because they're not. There's like I know in Crete, my dad told me they got these stone houses carved into the cliffs.
Yeah.
But I think there's places. Is it in Portugal as well? They have them.
Well, we were saying about that place. You know the bit in Indiana Jones on the Last Crusade.
I didn't like that one.
But you know the bit where they go to that place that's carved into rock in where did you say it was?
Petra.
Petra.
Yeah, Petra.
So that's all carved, and that's pretty ornate, isn't it?
us look like it's been melted.
Oh, I found something which is pertinent. The 21 most beautiful carved places that are carved, and their places.
Tactical Droid's back. Our boy. He said, stone apartment complex. I have that in Eastern Europe. Not impressed.
Oh, hey, Tactical Droid, how's this for some slap? I went into a Polski Celeb, Euro shop, whatever, and I wanted to see if I could find I think it's Russian because it's got Cyrillic on it. It's an orange cream bar with dark chocolate. It's delicious. Couldn't find it, and this bit really spins me out, a can of kvass, and it sold as 1 pint, but it was written in foreign. But look on it, it's like, 568 mils. That's a pint. So it's like, it's euros, but they're selling it in pints of bread juice. So I'm going to have some bread juice later.
Do you want to do a bit about the giants from the Grand Canyon, from the same people?
Yeah, but giants don't exist. We know that because the Smithsonian were there to make sure that nobody saw any giants.
One question about these ant people. How big were they?
I don't know.
Ant people. Hey, do you know Herodotus wrote about giant ants?
Did he?
Yeah,
these weren't giant ants, they were ant people. So I assume they're about 5 foot or 6 foot.
The reason I mention it is because he said that in the Arabians, he was told this, he never saw it himself. They get their gold from the desert because the ants would just harvest it, but these ants were the size of dogs. And they were very fast, so the only way you could outrun them was to go in on a camel who's just recently given birth, and that way she'd be more willing to run back to the calf because you know Arabs were telling him this story. But point being is the ants would harvest nuggets of gold in the desert, and you could go and pick them, but then the ants would be like, "Hey, that's our gold, give it back," and you'd be like, "Yalla, I go on to my camel now. She has recently given birth, so will take me back to the bazaar where I sell this gold, inshallah." And Herodotus just said, "Look, Arabs are full of shit, but it's my duty to report on stories I've heard. So this is the story I've heard about ants the size of dogs."
So ants are ants are kind of like pigs with truffles, but with gold.
Yeah, except for gold.
With gold.
Yeah. So maybe we're not like the slaves designed to scrabble up the gold. Maybe it was the ants, but then we killed the giant ants, and now there's only the little ants left.
Well, the ant people. Maybe they were ant people, but they kind of reverted to type.
Yeah, so maybe we're just kind of
maybe fresh air turned them into actual ants.
Yeah.
You know?
What if we're like the genetic mistake, and the real slaves were the ant people, but then they died? And people,
did you say black people were Oh, dear. Apparently, no real charting of the caves in the canyon has been done. That is rather unusual, as it would appear that the permits to go into the caves are necessary, and yet they are also not granted. How do I get into the cave where you need a permit? Can I have a permit? No.
Isn't that a bit like when it's like, "I'd like to come to the Antarctica"? I bet you would. We're not giving you a permit though. Fuck you.
How do I get to Antarctica where you need a permit first? Can I have one? No.
It's like, okay, here's some legitimate science experiments I want to do. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, but it turns out Liechtenstein has vetoed you because they get a vote in it for some reason, and they say no.
You've been blackballed by Liechtenstein. You've been blackballed by Liechtenstein.
It's literally if there's one member of the Antarctic Committee says no, then no, they get to veto you. Don't you just,
is it like when Del Boy tried to join the Masons when Boise fucking blackballed him?
But it's so oh yeah, dude, why don't you just go to Antarctica and prove this stuff? See, you won't. It's
You fucking lazy cunt.
I'd like to go to Antarctica. Now, my dad did actually say something which I thought somebody ought to do this, right? He says, "Look, you don't have to go past the line where the navies of the World War scramble to torpedo you.
Yeah.
You go to a few miles above that and just say, look, I'm not going to cross it. You can keep an eye on me if you like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to circumnavigate, staying at this latitude.
Yeah.
And if flat Earth real, then this should be way longer than circumnavigating around the similar latitude in the Arctic Circle, right?
Yeah.
So you just do that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, it's a fair point.
I think that shouldn't be too expensive. I mean, I don't know what sort of fuel costs and crew costs you're talking about, but it's
Food.
something which
How would you have enough food to do that?
it's all right, just fish.
Fish.
Look, I don't know. Say you got a boat and it does a speed of 20 knots. I mean, how long is it going to take to do 20 knots?
Well, what was it? Who was it? Sir Francis Drake? Was it Drake?
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that recent picture I put in the 14 words Telegram? Reminder the 14 words Telegram still a thing, guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a 14 words Telegram chat where people post stuff, and that's 14 related.
What effect sometimes means more land? Did you see that picture?
I did, yeah. I just by the way, sometimes people post stuff that's not 14 related, but we have the 37 Food Network for that. So post your non-14 stuff in 37 Food Network. Soup. Yeah, and Tom Simpson also talks about soup.
Yeah.
Lots
of people talk about soup in there.
Yeah, we talk about soup.
Hot topic.
We talk about burgers.
If you want to talk about spoopy,
lentils.
It's spoopy or soup. If you want to talk about spoopy, you go in the 14 words Telegram.
If you want to talk about soupy, then 37 Food Network. So for comparing meerkats, 37 Food Network. For comparing the market, 14 words.
Yeah. Did you see what effect extraterrestrial means more land? I'll save that. I'll save that image and then I'll put it up. But then I'll talk about more of this stuff that we're talking about now.
Hemmy, revive the old Grub and Glory.
Grub and Glory.
I think Just Don't Like 'Em's better name.
I stopped doing Grub and Glory because I couldn't get a panel. You know, if people want to do it, they've got to go. Hemmy, I'm available on Tuesday night, and I want to do a show. Because it ended up just me and you doing it, didn't it, Hobbit? That's why we knocked it on the head.
Well, that's because we're the only two that didn't go mental and be I'm going to go and do a Fed post in real life now.
Yeah. So I'll put that up, but we'll talk about other stuff for the moment, and then we might come back to that a bit later on. Actually, did you want to go off topic right now, and then we'll do some more next week, or? I'm also really hungry, so the 37 Food Network.
I think that's a good teaser because I think we want to do the Smithsonian soon, don't we?
Yeah.
Giga episode.
Now this is an interesting image because how does the sun and moon work in these extra places? And wouldn't Trump?
Yeah, someone's actually thought this one out, haven't they? So stick that in the back chat, and we'll start with there because I want to talk about the quartz next week. Because there's what's called the confluence, where a lot of plane crashes. Could quartz lead to plane crashes, Hobbit? Heavy quartz deposits.
Well, it's piezoelectric, so with if you give some vibrations like from an earthquake, that would create sparks and stuff. Yeah, that could interfere with navigation systems.
Spoiler for next week: we'll do some unexplained histories. We'll talk about some flat Earth now. And then we'll finish off Grand Canyon next week then.
I've no idea who that guy is, Celia Sodus, and I have no idea what I have
no idea what you were talking about, Celia Sodus. Yeah. Do not know.
Yeah,
DOA was on for 3 episodes until she came across Geralt, and then that was it.
Why wasn't I on those episodes? I could have asked a far more questions.
I think that was when you was in the mood, I bet.
Why was I in a mood?
Well, you'd have been automatically invited to it, Hobbit, so it must have been when you were in a mood. Was that when you were in a mood with Brutus?
Yeah, it was, yeah. By the way, Brutus, go fuck yourself.
He really is trying to do that himself, from what I hear one of his latest shows was about.
Oh, what? Sticking his willy into his bum?
No, he was doubling down on. He was tripling down on some of the stuff that he said.
What fucking?
Yeah.
Fucking. If there's grass on the pitch, play anal rape.
Yeah, let's. That's
you ever had a KFC triple down? That's what.
Yeah. Yeah, why is everyone why is everyone now moaning about the double down? I've got to talk about it.
Did you know KFC?
It seems all right. It sounds like fun. Like
did you
2
know
bits of chicken.
KFC stopped doing the double down?
Why? What's wrong with it?
I know somebody who in the space of 80 minutes mentioned it 95 times. They took away the double down. Now, the problem is, this guy, who shall remain nameless, is known for his food hacks where he takes existing food items and then makes new food combinations with it. But KFC says, better not be making a food hack and make your own double down, boy. So now he has to go cry and drink his baby bowl. Can I just say, fuck the Wyoming Brutus, known as King Cobra?
You can.
There should be the chef guy we used to have on Grub and Glory. I don't even know who the chef guy is.
That's me. I'm the chef guy you used to have on Grub and Glory.
Oh, yeah, you used to do... Well, you did one Chef Hobbit bit, didn't you?
It's like the chef guy... Oh, God, you mean like Monsieur Balzac?
I've still got it somewhere. Hobbits. No, you did your bit, didn't you?
I did, yeah. It was with the French accordion music and making the oh, it's good, that was.
Mountain Dew marinade on everything. Is that something that... I think we're going off topic now. I think we need to do a Saturday night show again, Hobbit.
Boiled steak. Oh, I was going to say, do you want to do some Just Don't Like adverts? Also, Fraser, you're invited. Anyone who's in like the chat now, you're also invited. It's going to be on the 37 Food Network. We'll look at some adverts.
Like adverts.
Yeah.
Just Don't Like adverts.
Oh, that was the last one we did was super comfy, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I must admit, I'm more fond of the 80s adverts than the 70s ones. But the 70s ones were so like sex, tits, sex,
tits.
Yeah.
Tits, sex, tits, tits, sex.
What the fuck? Okay then, interesting. Yeah. So what let's talk about. Do you want to talk about this map first? Since I've referenced it. So they're saying that the spiral out continues. So where do the maps of these places come? Bwambata, which is the Summer Gate. Bwambatara, which goes into Jemima. Was that Gemini? Happis, Bol, which is the sun. So what do you think then of it? Do you think this is myth plausible or?
I just heard jambalaya and thought, I should make some of that.
No, Bwambatara, which is the Summer Gate, which is how you get into the next one.
Totally real name. Totally not fake name.
I used to like Africa Bambata. I remember Africa Bambata.
Oh yeah, he was cool.
Africa Bambata and the Soul Sonic Force.
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that. Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd. Well, that was the one where he tried to. Was that the one where he tried to fly across? Was it?
No, he took the Navy down there, didn't he? And then they came back and somehow they lost some ships and shit.
Who was the dude that tried to fly across?
That was Byrd. Yeah, Byrd did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly Byrd could do it, but we can't do it these days. It's too cold.
Oh, fucking hell. Hobbit, do you want to do this one? Man lived 82 years without ever seeing an actual woman from Unexplained.
Oh, yeah, the most based Greek monk. This is a good story, right? So, where you...
Is this real?
Unexplained Mysteries.
It's Unexplained Mysteries, yes. I have to type in... Before I do that, very important, not parody headline from the Mail Online. Hate the smell of BO, you might be xenophobic.
Yeah.
Because our study finds people are sensitive to disgusting smells.
Is this the new this week's study in wine? Are they just going to do you might be racist instead now?
It turns out if you drink wine, you're racist. Turns out if you drink wine, you're not racist.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, if you got disgust at the smell of feces, sweat and urine, then you're racist.
Yeah.
Because darkies smell of all those things.
Yeah.
And that's from the Daily Mail Online saying, if you don't like the smell of shit, then you're racist, you bigot. Unexplainedmysteries.com. 82-year-old based monk long lost 15-year-old Bible chap discovered using ultraviolet light. That's interesting. I'll have a look at that.
Next.
Man lived 82 years. Well, so the greatest Greek monk ever to live would excuse the fact he's Eastern Orthodox.
Local man
he didn't
never
know
been
better.
nagged.
Never been nagged. Oh, could you imagine what that must be like?
So, Brother Totalos, whose first name
He must
was
have lived like a perfect life, like
the look of serenity
yeah,
and peace on his face is. I wish I could attain that.
How many of those
goal.
82 years of his life do you think he spent sat in his underpants watching the telly, scratching his balls?
Isn't that a dream? Like...
I think his first name is pronounced Mihailo. I assume that's Mihailo. Well, I suppose it's like Michael, but the Greek version. Yeah. So Mihailo Totalos, who was born in Greece and lived his entire life in a remote monastery, only read about women in books. In what can only be described. So in other words, he was like...
It could have been worse. He could have learnt everything from women from TikTok. Like, that would have been way worse.
The difference between Brother Totalos and Elliot Rodgers is the media one consumes. He's like Tintin. He's like living this world of adventure with no women in it, except for the fat opera singer, but she don't count. In what can only be described as one of the most extreme cases of isolationism we've heard of, in one of the most extreme cases of peace and serenity that we've heard of, Michael...
but Hobbit, he's never seen a pair of tits.
Michael Townsend.
He's seen them in books.
Has he seen them in books? Has he seen tits? This is what I want to know. Has he seen tits? That's what I really need to know. Has he seen tits?
Do you think he got a calculator and went open bracket... full stop, close bracket.
Boobless.
Yeah. 80087355.
Would that if he'd literally only had one copy of Razzle for all of his life, would that be like the platonic ideal of a woman? Would it?
I suppose so. Yeah.
Perfection.
He was born in 1856, so he probably didn't have access to Razzle, televisions, a calculator, and what have you. But he never encountered a real woman. Well, I'm 38 years old, and I've yet to encounter a real woman. So you and me are in the same boat, brother. His mother had died shortly after he was born. He's the chosen one. He ended up being adopted and raised by the Eastern Orthodox monks at a monastery.
Wait. He was born. Was he born blind and then recovered, or did he actually see his mother? Because that's cheating then.
Well, sure, but he wouldn't remember it, would he?
Right. Okay.
No, they put a veil on his face so he wouldn't have to look at the sight of his mother's minge.
Yeah, he was so ugly when he was born, and the doctor slapped his mother.
So that caused her to die, right? Yeah.
So she raised by Orthodox monks at a monastery on Mount Ophos in Greece. The monastery had and still does have very strict rules forbidding anyone from stepping inside, as part of efforts to ensure the monks all stick to the vow of celibacy. But it's more important that it's just the fact that, look, we like to get stuff done, so no women.
As Sergeant Oinkwoodson says, we need to have a moment's silence because he's never motorboated a woman.
Look. You're thinking about all the downsides. Think of all the advantages. Just if only Hemming, have you get that picture?
This guy's Tesla on steroids. You think how much real energy he's got stored up there?
Right, Hemming. Here's a photograph of the guy. Put that up on the Fortean so they can look at the peace and serenity. This man.
Holy shit! That guy looks like a fucking Chad.
He looks like fucking Nordic, doesn't he?
He's a wizard. Yeah.
It looks like Nordic. If you're still listening, come back to us.
Gandalf the Grey has got nothing on this monk.
Here we go. Look, here he is, Nordic the Grey.
Dude,
Nordic
the Grey.
Now, the monastery. Yes. In
fact, look, but that look at his face. Look, that says, "If only I'd motorboated a pair of tits."
That is the look of a man who wants for nothing in his life. There is a man who is content with his relationship with God. Craig says, Brother Tossalotus.
Yeah.
What this meant, however, was that was that Brother Totalos, who never once stepped foot outside the grounds, never encountered an actual live woman, and never experienced getting nagged once in his life for all the entire 8 decades of his life. Instead, he only ever learnt of their existence through word of mouth and by reading books. Oh, this sounds like a nuisance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that, brother. Oh, good. His choice never to go beyond the confines of the monastery was his own. There were no rules forbidding him from leaving and venturing to the nearest village, for example.
Yeah, because he heard the stories, didn't he? And he fucking thought,
He's
yeah,
like,
no.
You know what? I've read chapter 1 of Genesis a
His
few
favourite
times.
website was incel.co, wasn't it?
I've read chapter 1 of Genesis. These women sound like bad news. I think I'll stay in the monastery. So he died in 1938 at the age of 82. My heart goes out to you, Brother Tortulus. Rest in peace.
Do you want to do the Bible story then, Hobbit?
Oh, long lost 1,500-year-old Bible chapter. 15,000-year-old Bible chapter. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
The ancient text constitutes a hidden chapter of the Bible that's been concealed beneath other layers of text. It's
I like the way they show a copy of a brand new Bible, like they print all of them with the UV fucking clause in it. The UV chapter in.
I would love to actually read it, but
hold on a minute.
Actually say.
Hold on a second. Like 1,500 years ago, would they even know about fucking doing stuff that would show up in UV light?
All I'm thinking is that ink's faded, but it still shows up under UV.
Do you remember that one? Do you remember that one? A lost page from Red Dwarf. A lost page of the Bible's been found on Mount Sinai. To Karen. All was this the standard thing in it. All representation of people is purely coincidental.
Yeah. Well, you know, it went Reddit tier later on.
Yeah. No, that was early on. That was Red Dwarf's second series, wasn't it?
Okay.
That was when he used to watch the news channel. Do you not remember the news channel?
Oh, it was always LOL atheism.
Yeah.
The text, which was one of the earliest old Syriac translations of the Gospels, is now one of only 3 known manuscripts of this kind, with one of the other 2 being kept at the British Library in London, and the other being found at St. Catherine's Monastery at Mount Sinai. The writing itself was hidden beneath several other layers of text and only could be revealed using ultraviolet light. A bit like something out of an Indiana Jones movie.
Did they have UV lights in the 1930s?
I bet they did in Weimar, Germany.
Technically, you did, because sunlight is ultraviolet light, but you can't see it because of all the visible light. Yeah. So you'd have had to filter out. If you could make like a filter which filter all the visible light and only allow ultraviolet through, then you could use sunlight. Actually, that'd be interesting. An ultraviolet filter. I have to look into that. But that'd be something that filters out UV. They put them into windows so that you don't get.
Yeah, you want to do it the opposite way, don't you? You want to filter everything out but the UV.
What? So you got black windows, but then UV comes in.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Like here's glass and it's black, but it's transparent to UV.
Yeah.
So you'd be like there in the dark and miserable. It's a bright sunny day, and suddenly you're getting sunburn, and you're not sure why.
You see you just stains by your desk.
The reason it had been written over. Oh, by the way, did you know like why white shirts like shine really brightly under UV light?
No.
This is something I used to get curious about because mate and I would skive off from school in our uniforms and go there, and it's like we'd shine up really brightly under the UV lights. Well, Daz and other laundry detergents, they use these phosphorant chemicals.
Is that biological and non-biological?
I don't know, but you know when Daz says makes whites white. Do you remember
when the big selling point with biological Daz? Do you not remember that? They used to be the big selling point in washing powders. You'd have biological or non-biological.
Oh, what the enzymes would break down dirt stains. Well, Daz's slogan was "makes whites whiter than white," and the way it does that is by using phosphors. When the ultraviolet light from sunshine comes in, it makes the clothes look brilliant white. So when you go to like play Laser Quest, your white shirt like glows in the dark.
Is that why the Gaza Strip is whiter than white, because they use phosphorus?
Lots of white phosphorus. Yeah. This Bible, the writing itself, we've seen that. The reason it's been written over is because at the time parchment was in short supply and was not unusual for the same page to be reused multiple times. As far as dating the Gospel is concerned, there could be no doubt that it was produced no later than the 6th century, so the authors wrote. Despite a limited number of dated manuscripts from this period, comparison with the dated Syriac manuscripts allows us to narrow it down.
How did they wipe a page back then? Did they? They wouldn't have bleached it, would they? Wouldn't have had bleach back then.
I think you'd use a rubber. I don't know what they'd use for a rubber before them, but you can scrape parchment.
But a rubber
is there?
Yeah, but a rubber wouldn't show up.
The findings are posted in. No, what? Oh, here we go. So this is in Cambridge University Press.
Yeah.
A new double pamphlet witness of the Old Syriac Gospels. Abstract. Ver iber for a membrum disjectum of the manuscript Syngio 49 contains on 2 of its folios the Syriac Gospel text as the lowest layer.
It literally sounds like I'm watching Clockwork Orange when you talk.
Yeah, there is a lot of Latin in this abstract. So the lowest layer, the scriptum emia, with a double pamphlet. Pamphlet est. That's their fancy name for parchment. Comparison with known Syriac versions of the extant text. So extant means existing, not extinct. The extant text is of Matthew's chapter 1, verse 30 to 12:26. Shows that the text represents the Old Syriac version and is particularly akin to the Curiturnius, and then in brackets it says SY to the power of C. On paleographic grounds, the original Gospel manuscript could be dated to the first half of the 6th century. The fragment is so far the only known vestige of 4th manuscript witness to the Old Syriac version. There's a introduction. I want to know what it says. Or is it just like, oh, okay, so it's actually got it written down here, but it's all in Old Syriac and I don't read that. It's got some squiggles.
Hobbit, did you know the James Webb Telescope has captured a highly impressive image of Uranus?
Is it on your rectum?
NASA's flagship space telescope has turned its sights towards Uranus, and the results are breathtaking, to say the least, Hobbit. I hope you wiped properly.
Take my breath away.
I just had to do that story like that. I can't be bothered to read it 'cause it's bollocks, but yeah.
Instead of doing some of those, do you want to do this travelogue about places carved into the rock which kind of pertains to Grand Canyon, or do you want to save that for next week?
Oh, save it for next week. Stick it in the back chat. NASA's working on a radical... This is going to be funny. This is going to be the usual, isn't it? NASA is working on a radical new type of propulsion system, Hobbit.
Oh, is it the ion drive we covered from a few months ago?
Let's have a look. Can superheated pellets propelled by a laser be the answer to space travel? A freaking laser beam, Hobbit.
Oh, I've heard of that. So is the laser going to be produced from the vessel, or is it going to be produced from a ground-based facility?
Pellet beam propulsion has the potential to enable a spacecraft to cross the entire solar system within 5 years. This is going to be absolute theory and complete bollocks. But let's read on.
Oh well, I've actually seen sorry, come on, brain work. It's hard to type and talk at the same time.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want to read it and then you can catch up?
Laser beams hit a spaceship and make the spaceship go. Is that what they're going to say?
Let's have a look. Voyager 1 might have travelled to the outer confines of the solar system, but it's a feat that's so far taken a ridiculous 35 years. Meaning that in order to truly explore the distant planets and to even consider travelling to other stars, we will need something with a bit more oomph than traditional chemical rocket propulsion systems. Do you think they will do? Do you think they will do generational spacecraft, Hobbit? Do you think?
No.
Do you think they would? Yeah, but they'd do it in secret, wouldn't they? They wouldn't do it publicly.
Oh, well, yeah, but the secret space program is like, look, space doesn't exist. We just make that up to keep the rubes in line. Here's the wormholes. If you want to see the real secret space program, watch Stargate SG-1.
So you
It's
think
not
it's
a good.
so you think it's what we've already read, where because they said these tunnels are all over the place, didn't they? The entrances to.
Yeah, the tunnels basically they open up to tunnels in other worlds, and you travel in the blink of an eye.
Because this is what we were talking about earlier with like the Dogon and stuff, weren't we?
Yeah, yep.
So anyway, this is where NASA's proposed pellet beam propulsion system comes in. Is it like Back to the Future 3 with the pellets they chuck into the steam train?
Oh, okay. So it's a bit more. It's a bit more than
Go on then,
what I thought
Hobbit.
it
Do
was.
the science then.
Right. So it's been speculated for a while that you can use lasers to propel things, especially in a vacuum where there's no friction to hold things back. You shine a laser beam, it produces it. That's why the idea behind solar sails as well. You use the solar wind, which is particles. But even the force of photons acting on a sufficiently large area will produce a small amount of acceleration. Yeah, so the idea being you've got your ground.
This starts. The third is that the third or fourth paragraph for pellet beam propulsion, a second spacecraft will be launched that will fire a beam of tiny. This is where it sounds like bollocks. We'll fire a beam of tiny microscopic
This bit's
particles
not
at the
bollocks.
sail.
When they're saying spray, it's just like like a can of air freshener. There's your tiny microscopic particles.
Yeah. Oh fucking hell! Why does this stuff do just like? It sounds quite interesting, and then you read it and you go, "This is bollocks," don't you?
The bit which doesn't make sense to me is this: like you're going to spray this like mist in front of the sail, but as we all know from deflecting laser beams, if you've got a mist there, that deflects the laser beam, so less of the laser beam strikes the surface.
Yeah,
you want to hit.
that'll decrease focus, won't it?
Why can't they just say, look, space isn't real and all this is bullshit, but here's the wormholes that actually connect us to other realms. The gold are real. It's not Jews. That's an anti-Semitic canard. It's actually mind parasites which control people.
Do you know what I've never understood, Hobbit? It's like,
What?
It's why does Iron Man's suit run on electricity yet it does a jet thing like it's using gas?
Because
Fraser,
the animators...
Fraser, can you answer this one?
Well, how was it done in the early comics?
I don't know, magic. He was,
Well, I was like, how was he depicted in the early comics? Like, when's the first Iron Man from? 1950?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what the
So
science is.
he would have basically been like Rocket Man. Like, oh look, this man's got a rocket ship.
Do you remember that? I used to watch that as a kid when I was on the holidays. Is it King of the Rocket Men? Do you remember that one? Did you ever see that?
No, but I have seen
the old black and white serial. If you can find some old episodes, they were worth watching. Like the old Batman ones. Do you remember when we did the old? Were you ever on that? Were you on that DMS when we did the old Batman one?
No, but I did listen to it.
You have to watch the old black and white Batman. This is so funny and so racist and hilarious.
I didn't know that existed. I meant to check it out because you're saying like. You said there was one which looks like it, but it was actually like modern, but they tried to mock it up.
You can tell, but you can tell because it's got like the HD and the frame rate.
Oh, and it's a bit too steady as well.
Yeah, it's way too steady. Yeah.
There was this. I think it was made by Disney in the 1990s. There was this thing called Rocket Man, which I suppose was
Damien the Rocketeer.
Rocketeer, that's it. Yeah, and the only reason I know about that is I was playing this game called Broforce, and very obvious ones like Bruce Willis from Die Hard, Rambo, RoboCop, Terminator, all the greats, and then suddenly there's like this one called Rocketeer, and I was like, I've never seen a film called Rocketeer, and then I watched it. It's like it was really good. Oh yeah, and then there was this one bro. It was actually two of them.
If you want to play like Rocketeer the game, there's a game called Dark Void. It's never usually that much. It's usually pretty cheap. Really, really enjoyable. It's like the Rocketeer, the game. But it's set in the 1920s. You have a rocket pack. It's a really, really good game. It's on Steam. I played it on the PS3. Yeah. That was a really good game. Yeah, well, but King of the Rocket Men was great because you'd watch the end of the because it was like the you know the serials when people used to go to the cinema. So they go to the cinema, watch the episode, have a week off, go back to the next week and watch the next episode. So it'd be like the bloke would be trapped in a car. It was locked. The car would go off the edge of the cliff, blow up and explode and everything. And then the next week it'd be like, oh yeah, he jumped out before he went down the cliff, even though it didn't look like that at all. But yeah, King of the Rocket Men was great because he was fighting crime. It's like it's the olden days version of the Rocketeer from like the 30s.
I need to watch Mystery. The problem with Mystery Science Theater 3000 is I had one copy of it and then I lost it, and then I re-downloaded this better copy, but the episodes are different. So like there was this one bit I was getting quite into it. Like before they'd watch the main feature, they'd watch like this. Like a sort of serial, like a 19...
Have you ever read Annie with the Jump Jet Fanny from Viz?
I haven't, and that sounds like a Viz character. I gotta... let me type it into a search engine. They did the
one. You ever read Billy the Cat that used to be in Buster? You probably haven't, because you probably haven't read old comics. But they did a joke. Buster. They did a joke thing on Billy the Cat where he got battered to death in the end.
Little Annie Fanny, Playboy's Little Annie Fanny, Annie with the Jump Jet Fanny.
So let's have a look at the
Little Annie Fanny.
So what's the science with the pellet thing? Let's go back to the pellet thing. I think
it's boring. It's just like, look, spray some Febreze in front of your sail, and it'll make laser go faster.
Can you just? Wouldn't it be cooler if you put a deodorant cannon with a lighter in front of it?
Frasier, is this to do with you? Frasetta takes on Playboy's Little Annie Fanny.
Maybe.
Little Annie Fanny was a comic series. Little Annie Fanny was a comic. Little Annie Fanny was a comic series that appeared in over 100 issues of Playboy from 1962 to 1988. That's probably where Viz copied it from. The series created by Harvey Kurtzman also created Mad Magazine. During a journey man period in the 1960s, it says. I'll put the thing in there. This is an unexplained mystery, so I'll copy the link here. So it says during a journey man period.
Frazetta, that'll be Frank Frazetta. You know Frank Frazetta, who does the fantasy artwork, the big the barbarians and the sexy. You've never been a fan of Frank Frazetta's artwork.
This was Frasier's stage name.
No, it's Frank Frazetta. Frank Frazetta. Google Frank Frazetta Hobbit, and then you'll see how good Frank Frazetta is.
But I'm literally on Frazetta Girls at the moment, so isn't that like?
Yeah.
So. In order to secure the job, Frazetta had to try out for Kurtzman and Alder to prove his style was compatible with theirs. Both Kurtzman and Alder were familiar with Frazetta's artwork, but the audition was mostly for Hugh Hefner, who at the time wasn't familiar with Frazetta's artwork. Frazetta, of course, pulled for him, painted, study in lush and detailed style, adding a lot of beautifully blended colours, wonderful sexy energy, a perfect on-model rendition of Annie. And I must say, this first picture here in the green dress, very pretty. So I don't know what Annie with the Jump Jet Fanny looks like, but this Little Annie Fanny.
Hobbit's talking about.
This Little Annie Fanny, I mean, hubba hubba.
Hubba hubba.
I mean,
Yeah, Frank Frazetta, you'll be going hubba hubba as well. Frank Frazetta's famous for doing like like Conan book covers, things like that. That's like Frank Frazetta's type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's Johnny Bravo would certainly pick her up.
Do you want to go along with this? We'll just talk about stuff that's not.
Oh come on, we haven't done a thing in a while. So Hugh Hefner approached the artwork immediately, added it to his own collection. Soon after approval, Will Alder, Harvey Kurtzman, Jack Davis, L. Jaffe, Arnold Roth, and Frank Frazetta got to work. Try not to have a wank with left hand, with the right hand was busy drawing. Will Alder, so blah blah blah. He did some drawings, and then some drawings. Little Annie Fanny comic illustration for the surfers. Frazetta drew the bathing beauties and Annie Fanny. Hubba hubba. Although the synergy of the group of artists was incredible, Frazetta's time working for the strip was short-lived. Story goes that when Frazetta was insisting on Annie Fanny, Hefner ended up changing his mind, not liking the change Frazetta made on Annie's body. Supposedly, Hefner told Kurtzman not to use Frazetta for future projects. Later on in the early 2000s, Will Edner said the problem was never Hugh Hefner. In fact, Hefner was respected and admired Frazetta's artwork, and never minded those changes on Annie Fanny. Alder and Kurtz, I'm trying to read this website, but it keeps flashing one new message at me, and it's really annoying. According to Alder, they work completely differently from Frazetta. No surprise there, Frazetta was finishing his parts of the strip at the very last minute and left other artists stressing and having to work around his schedule. Frazetta's procrastinating nature ended up leaving Alder and Kurtzman no time to make corrections. Alder says, "We love Frank and didn't have the heart to fire him, so we put the blame on Hef. Soon after Frazetta had left the team, they replaced him with Russ Heath." There we go. So I imagine this is... I can't find the Viz one, but I imagine that's got to be the inspiration for Annie with the Jump Jet Fanny. Craig, tell me, because this is the thing. I'm sure I've got like the... Tarman's Live.
My
Guys,
favourite, my favourite Viz one was. Do you remember the one where it was someone's grandpa, and he thought he'd been turned into a little 3-inch person?
Oh God, yeah, and he's trying to like climb into.
And at the end, he goes into. He thinks his curse can only be lifted by a gypsy, and he says that little gypsy girl, I'm only 3 inches, but if you rub me, I'll get big. and then the next panel is, I'm really sorry, but your granddad's been beaten to death by a gypsy.
Oh, right, because there was one I read, and the contrivance was he tries to go into like a pram of a baby, and now he's on the sex offenders register.
Well, this one was like, I'm sorry, your granddad's been beaten to death with a camping stove by a gypsy. Oh, Jennifer Connelly.
Kahuna.
She was a very pretty lady, wasn't she?
Bit Kahuna. Oh yeah, Timothy Dolson and Jennifer Connelly were in there. Yeah, it was really, it was a good film, The Rocketeer.
Yeah, you really want to watch it. You find some old episodes of King of the Rocket Man. I used to love that when I was a kid. Because like when I was a kid, like during the school holidays, like we had all the reruns of the like 50s and 60s, 70s stuff. Like this is where I feel sorry for like modern kids. They don't have any reruns of the old stuff, do they? So they don't really. They don't really know where their stuff comes from, do they?
Oh, speaking of which, right? I've been watching the Harry Palmer films, and I've watched the third one, A $1 Billion Brain, which kind of enough is pertinent to what we got now with the AI stuff, saying, "Oh, AI will be brilliant and will take all our jobs." So in the $1 Billion Brain, Harry Palmer ends up in the Finnish intelligence, and it's like, it turns out they've got this computer, and the computer like allocates all the missions for the agents, and everyone's just like, well, the computer knows better than we do, so we're just going to do it. And then there's another $1 Billion Brain, which an American bloke's got, and it's like, it's great, it's going to revolutionize the world, and it's going to replace all jobs. Like, this is what they're saying about AI. I reckon there'll be a load of hoopla about it, and it won't quite like be as drastic as people say it will be.
Well, it'll be like robots. Because all robots really do is car spraying, don't they? They don't really do much more, do they?
Yeah, car spraying and sort of spot welding. They can do those sort of things quite easily.
Alphabet Cat, did you ever watch King of the Rocket Men on the Saturday morning, the early mornings of the summer holidays? It was King of the Rocket Men, the Red Hand Gang. Do you remember Did you ever see the Red Hand Gang, Hobbit?
My granddad told me they used to capture his motions for the robot, and then he'd watch this robot replicate, and he says, that robot paints the cars exactly the same way I do, without fault every time. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't eat. It doesn't care if you're there. If you're there, it will knock you down.
Did your dad do the speech from Terminator? Did your granddad do the speech from Terminator?
It's pretty much.
It like does not eat. It does not sleep. It will not stop.
Yeah, it's like it all carry on spraying, even if there's no car there.
Yeah. If there's a mangled body, if there's a mangled body stuck in the car frame, it will still just carry on spraying.
You know, you've got a Ford Cortina there, but suddenly now it's a Rover MGB, and it's spraying it like thinks it's a Ford Cortina. Robots are the ultimate sport, Spurgs. Oh, have you seen the robots? What mount surface mount devices onto PCBs? They're like a machine gun. They got like belt-fed components, and they spit them out faster than machine guns do. An absolute blur. And then the way they...
Hold on, I've got to say to Craig Wilson that topless skateboarding is way
Jump
better.
Jet Fanny and a Hawkley Sedley twat. I've got to look up that. That is just so British.
And they break... oh, shit, yeah, they break children's fingers when they're playing chess. Did you read that story the other week, Hobbit?
You know what that was?
The kid tried to cheat, didn't he? The fucking robot just broke his finger, didn't it?
Yeah, so that little Jew rat was trying to do an illegal move when it wasn't his turn, and the robot's like, "Fuck you, mate!" Snaps fingers. That'll teach you.
Snaps fingers, but not in a oh fuck, what's that musical called? That would have been a lot funnier if I'd remembered the name of the musical. Well, the Hawks, the Sharks and the Jets. What's it fucking called?
I found it. I've actually found this Jump Jet Fanny thing.
Oh, send us. Put it in back chat.
Copy image, and then unfortunately, I think this is only.
What's the fucking music? What's the musical?
What
Hobbit.
musical?
The musical, the one set in New York with the Hawks. Is it the Hawks and the Jets? I've just met a girl called Maria. West Side Story.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Right, yeah.
Snaps fingers, but not in a West Side Story way.
We are sick. We are sick. We are very, very sick.
Saving me jazz. Save.
I can barely make it out. That's okay. If I open it up now, now I can look. Jump Jet Fanny and a Hawkless Sidley twat. Young Fanny Harrier was the luckiest girl in Barnton, for she was born with a vertical takeoff jet engine up her minge. Hurry up, Fanny! You'll be late for school. Don't worry, Mum. You're cleared for takeoff.
Has a sonic boom blown up the greenhouse? Has it?
Oh, so
I read one the other day with Johnny Fart Pants, where his mum and dad were feeding him loads of fart fuel.
No, it's. I think Johnny's with the. There's Freddie Fart Pants.
It's Johnny Fart Pants.
Are you Mandela affecting me?
No.
It's Freddie Fart Pants.
West Side Story, Sergeant Oingleton knows it.
It's obviously Freddie Fart Pants because of its alliteration. Johnny, no, you're confusing him with Johnny the guy with, but no, Buster Gonads.
It's fucking Johnny Fart Pants, Hobbit.
Right, okay. You're going to tell me next there's a star above the hammer and sickle on the communist flag. I don't believe you. There's not. That's bullshit. It's gaslighting. I saw it in Funeral in Berlin last night. It's just like, look, I don't care.
Johnny Fart Pants. It's always been Johnny Fart Pants.
Freddie Fart Pants. I'm typing it in now.
You're going to tell me. You're going to tell me next that Billy No Mates was in Viz, aren't you?
Yeah.
Billy No Mates was in Gas. He was never in Viz.
Okay, so I'm typing
in the 90s. In the 90s, there were loads of copycat Viz comics, and one was called Gas, and that's where Billy No Mates comes from.
Oh God, there's like pornographic images of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, you fucking degenerate. Oh, did you know there's going to be a? Did you know there's going to be a?
Look,
Five Nights at Freddy's film.
I don't care. That's like telling me there's the Emoji film.
There's going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, what is Five Nights at Freddy's? I've never played it. Is it any good?
No. Okay. Imagine CCTV, the game, except when you don't look, they move.
Oh God, like the angels from Doctor Who.
Yeah, basically like the age. But anyway, I'm going to carry on reading like this. So anyway, she's gone and done like a bang out of the garden. She's been cleared for takeoff. Oi, Fanny, stop! This is her dad. Oh no, it's Dad. How many times have I told you not to break the sound barrier in the garden? And she's just like, They're hovering on the jet of air. Your sonic boom has shattered every window in my greenhouse.
Do you remember the Johnny Fart Pants where he was getting the cane at school and he made a cushion with his farts?
Oh, do you know why they're called greenhouses in this country? This is like an interesting like French English thing, right?
Because grass.
Isn't
it something to do with grasses? Glass is something like the colour verd, which is green.
Yeah, so the colour green in French is vert, and a window is vert, but is with a T at the end.
Yeah.
So if you want to have fun, everybody can do this. Type in a green glass into Google Translate and listen to it in French.
But glass also used to be green, didn't it? Like you seen the old cod bottles, they were green.
Yeah, but like French they call them green. But in French they don't call a greenhouse a greenhouse. I don't think they call it maison verte either.
I think chat want to talk about Viz. But favourite Viz characters. Billy the Fish. I always skipped Billy the Fish. I can never be bothered to read Billy the Fish.
The Fat Slags is my favourite. But
do you remember the stop motion Fat Slags? Did you watch that one?
Yeah, and then Kathy Burke and the other one, what's her name? They did the voices for them.
Yeah. I never watched Roger Melly. Roger Melly was animation. Has done that animation, wasn't it?
I think I had a Fat Slags VHS tape.
I've seen Fat Slags, but I never saw Billy the Fish. There was a Billy Fish one, and there was Sid the Sexist as well. I think all the others were animation. I think they were the only stop animation. Oh, Peter Cook was Melly. Roger Melly.
Really?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That would have been good, that one. And do you remember that one? Do you remember the one when Roger Melly went to see Esther Ranson? He said, "Look, my knob looks like a potato. Look, there's a bit of cheese on it."
Oh. So the greenhouse in French is serre. But anyway, so back to this thing. Your sonic boom shattered every window in my greenhouse. So if you put this, that's it. So they can read along. The glazer's bill is £50, and I want cash by tea time. Glazer,
right, chat. I'll find a Viz. I'll find a Viz thing at random.
Oh crikey! Where am I going to get 50?
Do you want one from? I've got the original Viz, which is like the first couple. I can't remember what that's called. What's it called? The big hard one. So we've got the big hard one. The dog.
Have you got the hairy almanacers?
The spunky parts. The rusty sheriff's badge. The fish supper or the sausage sandwich. Which one do you want me to find?
Fish supper. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here, this small puddle gives me an idea. So, this is fun. Hover ferry across the puddle without getting shoes.
Have you ever had the skinhead from the big hard one?
No. A hover ferry across the puddle without getting your shoes wet. £1. 50 trips later. Hooray! This is my last passenger. Oh no! That flock of birds has flown into my fanny's air intake. We're going to crash. Remove all false teeth. Extinguish cigarettes.
Fucker.
Oh yeah.
Fucker. Buster Gonad. Yeah, Buster Gonad.
Just look at the state of this suit. I'll take this £50. Thank you very much. Bah. Oh no, it's tea time. I've not raised a single penny. Dad will kill me when I get home. Sorry, Dad. Don't worry about it, Fanny. I've already got the money. While you're out, I sold you to a flying circus. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tina Twin Engine Tits, Burt Lancaster, Bumhole, Colin Concord Cock, and Chum Jet Fanny. The 1991
do you remember
Fulchester...
topless skateboarding and Hobbit? That was funny, that was.
The 1991 Fulchester Flying Circus Private Parts Formation Acrobatics Display Team.
Oh, what's it? Billy and His Banana. Do you remember Billy and His Banana? Do you remember that one?
Just look at Tina Twin Engine Tits.
Oh, it's like Roger Irrelevant used to be quite funny.
I think my favourite that's not the Fat Slags has got to be Black Bag.
Black Bag. What have we got
Black
here?
Bag.
The big hard one. Let's have a look.
Black Bag.
These are fucking really old. Hold on a sec. I'll put the light on.
Buster Gonad and his unfeasibly large testicles.
Right. Yeah, I think this was even before they had a letters page.
I like in the letters page. This always. I mean, I haven't read it in a while. Oh, Johnny Fartpants. Hello, readers. My name is Johnny Fartpants. I've got a noisy bottom.
Let's try the fish
that's
supper.
That's a really old one.
Let's try the fish supper, shall we? Militant. You remember Militant?
Oh, I do. Yeah. But,
well, we've got World War II board game. Come to church. It's great. Christenings, weddings, funerals, jumble sales.
Black bag of this.
Mine's got my sausage sandwich has got a sticker on it. It says, "Publishers, ensure your editors have read the proofs of your books before printing 250,000 of them. J. Brown, London." My favourite of his letter was that one. I'll tell you what these lesbians need: a bloody good shagging. That's what. Do you remember that?
Oh, this one sounds good. As If by Tragic, a parody of Mr. Ben, in which the shopkeeper dies of a heart attack while Mr. Ben is on the moon, leading to astronauts finding his body 50 years later, wondering how it got there. Anti-clockwise, an old lady could tell the size of a man's penis just by looking at him, much to the amusement of their
Do you remember Big Fern?
Oh, they'll never take me alive. I'm not going back inside. Fuck off.
Billy the Fish. Why was Billy the Fish fucking 2 pages of shite that nobody reads?
Oh, Billy the Fish, I think, was like bad on purpose. That was why it was fun. Oh, here we go.
Did you ever read Zippo Lightning? Did you the bloke with the bucket on his head with eye holes cut out and pretended to be an alien? He was a kid's mate.
No, there's one here I've never read, but it was in issue 126, so I've got to read this. Badly Overdrawn Boy, a parody of pop singer Badly Drawn Boy, who is seen busking around his local bank because he is broke. Oh, that reminds me. There's a song. I think it's by Badly Drawn Boy. Da 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 da. And it's really like this is really cool, like distorted guitar riff. It's not like badly distorted, but it's kind of like I think it's the one I'm. Let me just check. If I type in Badly Drawn Boy, I might be getting mixed up with Plone or something.
Something to talk about. I'll tell you what, his soundtrack for About a Boy
Once Around the Block.
About a Boy was good. You seen About a Boy?
Not sure. Yeah, it is the one I'm thinking of. Badly Drawn Boy, Once Around the Block. Yeah, it's not Warp Records. It's XR Recordings. Okay.
They say you can't have your cake and eat it. What a load of crap! And only the other day I saw a boy who had his large cream cake, which he promptly ate. I think that phrase has always been told the wrong way round, isn't it?
Have your cake and eat it too. I think, yeah, the idea of it is like you can eat the cake, but then you can have it.
Yeah, you can either eat it or have it, can't you? It's like it's one that's always been told the wrong way around.
Balsa Boy, a take on Pinocchio in which the lonely old pensioner makes a son from balsa wood. While Balsa Boy does have dialogue, all the speech bubbles unambiguously emanate
do you remember
from
Nude
the old
Motorcycle
man.
Girl?
No. The strip ends with the old man being sent to a mental institution.
Nude Motorcycle Girl?
In a bit, after burning down the house while trying to dry off Balsa Boy in front of the fire. But the last frame, he is busy working on making another boy out of scones. So anyway, the nude motorcycle girls.
Nude Motorcycle. It was a quiet sunny afternoon in Barton High Street. Suddenly, the calm was broken by the screeching of tyres. Crumbs! There's a robbery in progress at the bank. Mild Manners's librarian, Noreen Norton, was on her way back from the stationer's. She knew exactly what to do. Noreen headed for a deserted lockup in a garage nearby, where an amazing transformation took place. Meanwhile, we've hit the jackpot, George. There must be 40 grand in this bag. Let's go. Suddenly, gore, look at the tumblers on that. Oh no, it's Nude Motorcycle Girl. Fwah! Look out! And he crashed into a lamppost. Within a second, the bobbies arrived on the scene. Come on, lads, I hope you like porridge. There's plenty of that where you're going. Another crime solved by the curvaceous crusader. Thanks, nude motorcycle girl. Once again, you've saved the J. Whoop, whoop, wah.
Oh, there's one here which sounds really good.
Oh,
Bassy
Nobby's Piles. Do you remember Nobby's Piles? Hobbit?
Yeah, Nobby's Piles. That's a fair one.
All me Chalfonts. I love it.
Yeah. I don't understand how Chalfonts can be rhyming slang for piles.
Chalfonts and Giles.
Chalfont St. Giles. Oh, right. I didn't know it was Chalfont St. Giles. It is one, Bassy Come Home, in which a young boy who lives on a farm has Shirley Bassey as a pet and must fight to keep her from being sold when the farm falls on hard times.
Biff of Bacon. I was never really impressed with Bicky Bray.
The running joke on that is Ma and Da are bastards and they just beat him up.
Yeah.
Here's one.
Tommy
Barry the
Salter's
Cat.
Chemical Capers. You ever seen this one? Where he just chemically experiments on everybody.
Okay. Barry the Cat.
Now then, did you feed Fido yesterday? Yes, I gave him one of my vitamin supplement potions. Well, that would explain this, and the dog's got 2 heads.
Oh no! Oh, I'm reading one here called Barry the Cat, a one-off parody of the Beano's acrobatic crime fighter Billy the Cat.
Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. He gets battered to death at the end, doesn't he?
Unlike his Beano equivalent, Barry's incompetent, hopelessly uncoordinated, and is immediately recognised despite his cat suit disguise. The final panel shows him in hospital, suffering from multiple injuries, being told that it has acted very foolishly.
Billy Quiz? Do you remember Billy Quiz?
No, it's not supposed to be Billy the Whiz, but like apparently.
No, Billy Quiz is a kid that asks questions of people.
Okay.
Roger Melly.
Oh no! Oh god! Bert Midler, Biddy Fiddler, a pervert with a fetish for very elderly women. After he finally gets a date with a 92-year-old, he is disappointed to be told that she has died, only to cheer up again when he is invited to a funeral with all of her friends of similar age. That reminds me of something, not Little
Tubby
Britain.
Johnson. Tubby Johnson, is he fat? You bet your hat. Felix and his amazing underpants. Do you remember that one?
I think I do. You told me about it.
Oh, he's just a kid with underpants. And he thinks they're amazing. Spoilt Bastard. Do you remember that? The little spoilt kid. Terry Fuckwit. That was a good one.
Oh, Terry Fuckwit's one of my favourites. Yeah, he kind of reminds me.
Do you want me to read Terry Fuckwit? Brr, I'm about to take a shower, readers. No, you're not, Mr. Fuckwit. This is a DHSS office and you're here for an interview. Oops.
The thing about him, the art style is almost identical to Calamity James in the Beano.
Hey, I'm thick as pig shit, if not thicker. According to our records, you've been unemployed for 14 years. Tell me, Mr. Fuckwit, have you made any attempt to find work during this period? Fuck me, that's a difficult question. No, thank you. I mean, yes, please, I think. Would you be prepared to accept any gainful employment that was offered to you? A job, in other words. I'll be buggered if I know, missus. I'm reviewing your claim to benefit in light of the fact you're totally without a clue. Your benefit is to be stopped immediately. Your records destroyed and your name removed from our computers. That'll be all, Mr. Fuckwit. That's it. I'll have to get a job now. How can I? Let's face it, I've got an arse for a brain. I'm starving. I think I'll grab a bite to eat somewhere. So he goes to a jeweller's. He says, this place looks okay. You must have come about the job vacancy. Tell me, why do you want to work in a jeweller's shop? Congratulations, the job yours. You can start right away. I'm off for lunch. While I'm gone, try and sell as much jewellery as possible. Shortly, I say I'm extremely wealthy, yet somewhat short-sighted. I'd like to buy this jewel-encrusted Rolex watch. How much is it? I can't read the price tag. Let's see, £2.50? I'll take it. Here's £3. Keep the change. Fuck me, what a gent. I bought this pair of socks here last week and they don't fit. Would it be alright if I exchange them? For a few inexpensive items of jewellery, perhaps. Certainly, help yourself. Thanks once again for all your help. Good day. Mine, we have had a good day. Everything in the shop has been sold. I'll count up the cash and see how much we've made. £3 and a pair of socks. This till is down by at least 100,000. You blithering the shit for brains. You're fired. What am I like? I'm such an utter fuckwit. I don't think there's any job in the world I could do. Well, Mr.
This sounds
Fuckwit.
a lot like this sounds a lot like Top Gun.
Well, Mr. Fuckwit.
When he gets sacked, does he drink like 12 Budweisers and shout "See Carl" from the parapet?
Well, Mr. Fuckwit, it appears you're totally profoundly dim-witted, both mentally and physically abnormal. Shoddy in appearance and unable to perform the simplest of tasks. I think we've got just the job for you. Excuse me, is this the right platform for for the Barnton train? Fucked if I know, Mrs. So he got a job at British Rail.
Yeah, nice. Now this one sounds like my ex-girlfriend was the inspiration. Becky Thump, a girl from the north of England who hates Southerners so much, she even assaults a supermarket delivery man for bringing a Southern fried chicken, is also shown reading a book entitled 1001 Reasons to Hate Southerners. Her name is a parody of Northern expletive Icky Thump. On this one here, Sir Baxter Basics.
Oh, yeah. Was he the MP guy?
An extremely amoral, self-serving and sexually deviant.
Do you remember Victorian Dad? Do you remember Victorian Dad who always used to whack off at the end? Do you remember?
Oh, no. Oh. But, so anyway, this sexually deviant right-wing Conservative and later Labour MP who first appeared around the same time as John Major's Back to Basics campaign and the transparent statement on the hypocrisy of politicians drawn by Simon Thorpe. Didn't need to know.
You ever seen this one, Junior Cop? Young Bob Hodges had a big ambition in life to be a policeman. And so, anyway, I'll skip through the rest. Later at home, Mum, have you seen my whistle? Sorry, darling, I haven't. Well, that's odd. I left it on the table this morning. Sit down, please, Mother. I'd like you to help me with my inquiries. Oh, I dear. I'm really busy. Just sit down, will you? Cigarette? You know I don't smoke, dear. Right, well, we'll start at the beginning, shall we? Where were you this morning at? 3 hours later, his mum's been fucking bashed in the face. She's bleeding nose, black eye. Right, let's go through this again, shall we? You claim you never saw the whistle, but you admit it is your kitchen. Bobby, I never touched your whistle. Please let me go. I have to make dinner. I've been looking at your file, Mum. It makes interesting reading. You've been a naughty girl. Got a bit of previous. Won't look good in front of a jury. You'll go down for this. Your father's going to be very annoyed with you when he gets home. Save it for the judge. Thank heavens, here comes your father now. Hello, hello, hello. What's all this then? Thank God you're home, Frank. He's been questioning me again, sob. He's even punched me in the face. Oh dear, it looks like your mother has fallen down the stairs again. That's right, Dad. You've been a bit careless, haven't you, Mother? Right, Mrs. Hodges, let's start again from the top, shall we? According to your statement, you got up around 7:30 a.m. and went into the kitchen. Oh, God. Now then, did anyone see you going into the kitchen?
Oh, it is one which this sounds like a firm favourite. Bicycle Bellend. A man on the bicycle berating drivers for showing him disrespect, even though he is actually a dangerous road user, often not looking and causing accidents, and at one point he rose the wrong way up a one-way street, getting his comeuppance when he tells off a burly driver who subsequently beats him up. Is that just Jeremy Vine?
I think so. Have you seen Holy Joe? Do you remember that one? Keeps making hole in things.
I remember.
He gets him to dig. He gets him to dig his grave, and then shoot. His dad gets him to dig a grave, then shoots him in the head. Oh fuck, Specky Twat! Do you remember Specky Twat, Hobbit?
Specky Twat, yes I do. But do you remember Big Fucking Dave?
Big Fucking Dave? No, I don't remember Big Fucking Dave.
A big, burly, and mentally unstable man with his name often tattooed across his forehead, sometimes back to front, who beats people up for being fucking queers because he believes they are drinking only a half pint of beer, not drinking the full 10 pints before having a slash, or smoking less than full strength cigarettes.
Is that Top Cat by any chance?
Low tar cigarettes, fucking queer. Usually egged on by his much smaller, trouble-making friend. Come on, Dave, I've just seen a guy in the lounge drinking halves, the bloody queer.
Where's Scuggy? Where's Scuggy? Should we go over to the other chat and see if we can get Scuggy?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. At one point, I will need to eat because I've skipped dinner.
Yeah, same here.
Mm.
Grub and Glory. Let's go general Grub and Glory Hobbit. It's fucking at.
Do you remember Big Vern?
Big Vern, yeah.
Vern, an East End gangster. Get down there, and he's going for his piece.
So you had a word with Scuggy the other night then?
Well, he was doing a stream, and I said, come on whenever. Vern's second name is Dakin, a reference to the notably violent 19th century British crime thriller villain, whose anti-hero, played by Richard Burton, is named Vic Dakin.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a good horror film, Hobbit. You ever seen The Medusa Church?
Billy Bottom and his zany toilet pranks.
You ever seen the Medusa Touch with Richard Burton in it? Really good film, though.
No.
Or
Billy Bound. It's always.
Have you ever seen? What's it? Where Eagles Dare? Broadsword to Danny Boy. Broadsword to Danny Boy. Danny Boy coming in. Danny Boy. where Clint Eastwood's on top of the cable car and he kicks that fucking German off it. Do you remember that?
Mm.
Fucking based film that is. Suicidal Sid? Suicidal Sid. He's always trying to pop his cork. Do you remember that one, Hobbit?
Now, according to Wikipedia.org, the font of all knowledge, Billy No Mates does appear in Viz. A miserable, asocial teenage boy spends most of the time alone in a dark room playing video games. When undisturbed, he becomes extremely irritated. He's also obsessed with masturbating, collecting large numbers of pornographic magazines, and calling sex hotlines.
I think Billy No Mates is from Gas.
I think he eats knickknacks as well. Can you still get knickknacks? I haven't seen them in the shops in a while.
Yeah. You can get. I like knickknacks.
I like the nice and spicy flavour. They're good. Oh, I want knickknacks now.
Oh, you never tried the scampi flavour?
No, I just normally go for nice the purple
scampi.
ones.
I think it's scampi and lemon.
Mm.
Oink! Oh fuck! Oinkwin son, you've mentioned my favourite fucking subject. Oink! I used to fucking love Oink. You ever read Oink, Hobbit?
No.
Oh shit! Imagine like Viz, but the gag is that they're pigs and they hate butchers.
All right. Okay. I'm just reading here about
Burp the alien.
The one I'm reading about now is Brian Cunt, a representative from a gas supply company who, when called out to a suspected gas leak, does nothing to help and instead pressures the customer to buy a new central heating system they don't need, resulting in the house blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on just good list of
Farmer Palmer.
bees. Oh yeah, Farmer Palmer.
Farmer Palmer, Hobbit.
Calvin and the Chipmunks, a rip-off of a very famous Chipmunk trio strip featuring John Calvin and some mischievous chipmunks who get him into trouble with King Henry VIII. Oh, this is brilliant! Right, Captain Morgan and his Hammond organ, a pirate who sails around the Caribbean inviting people to sing along with him. He plays a Hammond organ. His character was cut with legal action, was threatened over copyright some of the songs, according to creator Chris Donald. It's not making the character sing royalty-free hymns.
Hobbit? Are you old enough to remember that?
No, I don't remember that one.
The Eagle was Dan Dare.
Captain Oates, an explorer obsessed with pornography and masturbation. He is depicted skiing across icy wastes, dragging a wardrobe on his own skater seas, from which is hidden a stash of pornographic magazines. However, his efforts to masturbate are continually frustrated by the presence of his companions. Eventually gives his famous line, "I'm just going outside, I might be sometime," and ends up in the lantern with his fingers freezing off.
Do you want to do the How Green Are You quiz, Hobbit?
Hey, just a minute. Before we do that, I found JMK's Viz strip here, Captain Unreliable. A superhero who fails to save the day because of oversleeping, his car breaking down, etc. Sir Blackbeard. Sir Blackbeard. The strip portrays Sir Black as a vicious pirate captain who evades and defeats the Royal Navy, led by Admiral Noel Edmonds and his crew of rival TV presenters. Oh, that's
do you
very...
remember what was it? The Crimson Allied Assurance. Do you remember that one? From the start of Monty Python.
No, oh, yeah, the Wild Accountancies. That was real. Yeah.
That was good, that was. How green are you, Hobbit? Whilst driving in the countryside, you notice someone emptying drums of sulfuric acid into a stream. What would you do? A, join in the fun by emptying the contents of your car battery and watching the fish float up to the top. B, ignore them, it's none of your business. C, clamber aboard a precarious rubber dinghy and try to position yourself between the drums and the stream. Whilst travelling on a bus, you notice the vehicle is pumping out toxic fumes into the atmosphere. What would you do? A, light up a cigarette, put your feet up on the seat in front of you, sit back and enjoy your ride. B, make mental note to travel by electric train next time. C, slap the driver and...
Slap the driver and destroy your microphone.
I know, I was just sneezing. Scream hysterically, refusing to pay your fare and then blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
C sounds the most reasonable
I think
one.
it's mostly C, isn't it?
Yeah. So what's you doing?
Boy? Do you remember Plankton Boy?
I'm reading about Cockney Wanker instead. A swaggering, bigoted Londoner who speaks in rhyming slang. He's based on actor Mike Reed. He wears much cheap gold jewellery or Argos bling. An East End gangster, dark glasses, and often seen smoking a cigar. Wanker's specialty is buying and selling of cars, often buying one, selling it back to the same person at the same price, and then waving his wad of cash during contact. It's been a nice little earner. My favourite
film is that one with Clint Eastwood when he shoots people with a big gun. He's nails. And the one with the monkey was good too.
Oh, that monkey one was boring.
Hobbit would empty the power steering fluid from his Jag into the local river. I think blind people shouldn't be allowed to live in country houses since they can't appreciate the view and are spoiling the fun for sighted people. In fact, they should be allowed to have windows since it's a complete waste of glass. For his letters page. Sadly, it seems the trend nowadays is to badmouth the police force, but I won't hear a bad word against them. I've been deaf since birth. Last year, my husband and I spent a marvellous week in Bournemouth. This year, we intend to go for a fortnight.
Crap jokes. A diverse range of verbal and visual puns or one-liners, usually deliberately corny or old-fashioned. The best known of crap jokes are similarly known as Doctor gags, with the reader's sympathy drawn by the headlessly hapless straight man doctor. Yeah, the crap jokes is basically Billy the Fish.
Do you want to know 20 things you never knew about Russia, Hobbit?
Oh, go on.
1. Russia is by far and away the biggest country in the world, except for Canada. 2. Despite its enormous size, Russian has a relatively small population, roughly equivalent to that of Wales. 3. Russia is famous for its spies. Some famous names rumoured to have been Russian spies include Roger Hollis, former head of MI5, ex-Prime Minister Harold Wilson, and children's TV presenter and newsreader John Craven. Not all Russians are spies. There are Russian doctors, electricians, gas fitters, and even landscape gardeners. In fact, almost half the population of Russia have no connection whatsoever with the KGB. 5. In Russia, the staple diet consists of potato. To stay alive, the average Russian has to eat 3 times his body weight in potatoes every week.
That is true. That is an actual true fact. I have watched Life of Boris, and I can confirm the average Russian does eat 3 times his body weight in potato.
6. Russian shoppers have to queue for hours to buy bread, which is in short supply, while caviar is given away free on street corners. That's because sturgeon, the plant that caviar comes from, grows wild in Russia, where it's generally regarded as a weed. Oh dear. It's, you can't be intelligent to talk this much shit, haven't you? 7. Russia invented the barber shop. The first ever gentleman's hairdressers was opened in a Moscow side street in 1923. Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev likes nothing better than in his spare time than listening to Western pop music. His favourite groups include Five Star and Sister Sledge.
Just going to interrupt you for a bit. Diane Abbott and Costello. A strip with Diane Abbott and Lou Costello, I guess presenters of Question Time, but argue over the seating plan, with Costello constantly misunderstanding Abbott's instructions in the start of the famous routine, Who's on First?
Number 9. Alcoholism is a serious problem in Russia, with 8 out of 10 Russians registered as alcoholics. However, the Moscow branch of Alcoholics Anonymous has only one phone line, which is constantly engaged. 10. Russia is made up of many republics, a small of which is Lubanskia, with a population of only 4. 11. Visit the USSR for a holiday and you will immediately notice that unlike other countries, Russia has no tourist attractions. After the Communist Revolution in 1914, all tourist attractions were demolished and sandy beaches around the Russian coastline were covered over with rubble. 12. Russia's best known actor is Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov in the hit TV series Star Trek. Relatively unknown in the United States, Koenig enjoys megastar status in his native country, where his acting career has made him Russia's wealthiest man, owning 6 pairs of shoes. He has also become a top star, topping the Soviet pops with an incredible 6 years with his version of the Shirley Bassey hit Hey Big Spender. 13. Russia is the flattest country in the world. Its highest mountain, Mount Bosnov, is only 47 feet high. 14. Britain and Germany weren't the only 2 countries involved in the Second World War. Russia also took part, coming 3rd behind us and America. With 17 different indigenous species, Russia has more types of mouse than any other country in the world. 16. Despite having no fewer than 149 letters in their alphabet, there is no Russian word for tooth in the Russian language. 17. Russian families spend their evenings huddled around the TV set watching British programmes. For the top-rated TV show in the USSR is Catchphrase, hosted by silver-haired comic Roy Walker. However, viewing figures can be misleading, for in Russia there are only 3 television sets. 2 belong to Walter Koenig and the other one is broken. Oh dear. 18. It's no wonder the Russians make good spies. They have the best eyesight in the world. Only 1 in 500 Russians wear spectacles. And it's just as well. You'd have to queue for 2 weeks to have your eyes tested in a Moscow opticians. And a pair of glasses with just basic frames would cost over 1 million rubles. That's over 800 quid to you and me. The equivalent of 3 years' wages to the average Russian. 19. A second-hand pair of Levi 501 jeans, originally bought for $24.99 in a London boutique, were recently sold at an auction in Moscow for a staggering 23 million. The buyer, Walter Koenig. 20. Tipton in the West Midlands has close links with Russia. In 1982, it was twinned with Russian city of Kiev. Every Easter, the mayor of Kiev sends his West Midlands counterpart a large oven-ready chicken stuffed with garlic and butter.
I'm on the section of D now for characters. Desert Island teacher. A teacher stranded on the windswept rock. He decided that once a teacher, always a teacher, and inflicts monotonous lectures on seagulls and mollusks. A major feature of the script is he never actually says anything of any academic value. Instead, spends all his time saying iconic teacher statements like "face the front" and "I will not start until I have absolute quiet." He's rescued by a Navy search and rescue team, only to admonish them as if they were delinquent pupils, saying, "You think you're so clever, being able to fly a helicopter, but it's not going to help you in the real world." The rescue team throw him out of the helicopter for insulting them.
There's another article here about how cursed Dad's army is.
Oh, yeah. Have you heard of Dr. Pooh?
Dr. Pooh, no. I stopped reading Viz a long time ago.
I think it was. It was like it was done into a video. A spoof of Doctor Who depicting the title character actually desperate to move his bowels and able to find a toilet in the whole of space-time. Eventually reaches in Davros's private shite house on the planet Skaro. The story is animated with the Doctor Who film incorporating considerable farts in the notes.
Oh dear. Q shoes. What's this one? 4 young pals are on a holiday in Wales. Each has a remarkable pair of shoes. They call themselves Q shoes.
Mr. Beckham.
Mr. Logic.
David.
Mr. Logic. Talking bollocks is where he's at.
So, I don't like the Drunken Baker strip. That's not good. I do like 8 Ace though. Do you know 8 Ace?
It reminds me of a certain Stoke man we know.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? With wet burps. A long-running and iconic strip featuring an alcoholic who drinks Ace beer, 8 cans for £1.49, and struggles to stay on the right side of his wife and many children as a consequence. Not being allowed to live in the house and ending up in the shed in the front garden. Many of the strips involve Ace being entrusted with or somehow managing to acquire exactly £1.49, which he inevitably uses to buy 8 Ace from Patel's 24-hour nanomart. His real name has been mentioned as Octavius Tinsworthy Federidge Ace, the Federidge in his name being derived from the now-defunct Federation Brewery, which brewed Ace Lager, and Octavius being derived from octo, Latin for 8. The Tinsworthy refers to the cans, or tins of beer. Hence the name parallels 8 tins of Federation Ace. He's been unofficially voted the patron saint of dead losses.
Beat the credit card companies at their own game. Run a massive bill on your credit cards and kill yourself before the statement arrives, thus avoiding repayment.
Yeah, you could do that.
Respraying your car. Cover it with cling film first. If you don't like the new colour, simply peel it off and start again with another.
That is a very good idea. They kind of do that though. It's called a vinyl wrap.
Have you seen the National Union of Mine Workers have denied allegations that several £1 million collected during the 1984 miners' strike were used by their chairman Arthur Scargill to build a 1,000-foot-long steel tubular artillery gun at his home near Barnsley? Commie Union boss Scargill, 54, has so far failed to comment on the further allegation that he paid former Nazi war criminals 75p an hour to act as his personal minders during the 14-month-long dispute. MOD experts believe that the alleged gun, if it existed, which it didn't, could fire big things in a very long way, perhaps even into space. Oh, the McBroons, do you remember them?
Oh yes, I do remember them.
That's
was there the royal family, but was it the Bruno Windsors or something like that?
Have you seen a fundraising fund with a fund of fundraising fund with charitable Chester is always raising money for charity?
Oh, this one was relatable. Foodie Bollocks. A man obsessed with artisan food who goes into a fish and chip shop or bakery, although at the very ordinary shop, and asks a string of annoying questions about the food, as if he's ordering from a Michelin-starred restaurant. One strip is him ordering an ice cream from an ice cream van, wanting to know about the story of all the ingredients and getting punched in the face by the man behind in the queue as he's taking ages to decide, a happening which is by no means unique. One edition had him refusing to go back to post-work lockdown, going back to work post-lockdown because his regime to make sourdough bread is at a critical phase.
Do you remember Morris Day, the sexual pervert?
That actually sounds like a lot of them.
Oh dear, what else have we got? Shall we look at the fish supper next? We're going backwards in time in Viz.
Oh, Fruity Bun's a good one. Fruity Bun is also in. I'm wondering if it's the same artist who does Calamity James. Also does. Fruity
Are you
Bun.
looking for the new looking forward to the new Satsuma Castanet XR4 Turbo? It's more than just a car; it's a fanny magnet. Drive one, and you'll never sleep alone again. The Castanet XR4 Turbo fanny magnet. You'll have to beat him off with a shitty stick. So we've got some fat slags.
Jen Damon, a man who's obsessed with gin yet fails to realise how much he has drunk.
Prince's dramatic admission. HRH Prince Edward yesterday issued a shock statement of which put an end to months of public speculation. Yes, he declared, I am theatrical. Why are people kicking up such a fuss about the reunification of Germany? Isn't it about time we forgot the past? Just because the people have already started 2 world wars after promising they wouldn't, isn't any reason for us to mistrust them?
Oh, this has got a real short description. Granny Smith, an old woman who has a habit of murdering people. Oh, Harold and Fred, they make ladies dead. A one-off strip in which serial killers Harold Shipman and Fred West compete to be the first to murder a new female neighbour, only to discover she's actually Ed Gein wearing the skin of one of his victims. Would you believe this strip created controversy in the media, including complaints from the families of some of Shipman's victims?
I arrived at work the other day to find out the place had been reduced to a pile of rubble. I had to laugh when my boss reminded me I'm a demolition engineer. Napoleon once described Britain as a nation of shopkeepers. That's nonsense. My father is a plumber and has been for 48 years. In the old days, if we wanted to go out to a dance, we had to wear my mother's bedroom curtains and paint shoes on our feet using my granddad's army boot polish. And we had to be home by 10 o'clock so my mother could draw the curtains when she went to bed. I couldn't believe my ears last week. My grandson, who was 2, asked for £600 to buy a pair of these modern training shoes to wear to the pub. Has the world gone mad?
Yep. Insane Clown Posse and the Church Jumble Cell Mystery, a strip in which Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope investigate a theft at a church jumble cell.
I'd love to watch that one. Oh, fucking hell. Do you remember
I think I've read that one.
I used to listen to the radio show.
I think it's actually in the Big Hairy Almanackers, that the Insane Clown Posse. It's one of the recent ones.
If Sinead O'Connor grew her hair a bit and brought herself a nice frock, she'd make a lovely wife for some lucky young man. ICP always were. I mean, that's what the... oh, fuck. What were the final 2 Joker's cards? Oh, shit, what was that song? I can't remember. But, yeah, ICP always were born-again Christians. It didn't turn out they were. They always were. A friend once told me the most dangerous part of a car is the nut behind the steering wheel. Following his advice, I removed this nut from my car. Later, whilst travelling at speed on a dual carriageway, the steering wheel became detached and the car spun across the central reservation and collided head-on with an oncoming lorry. It just goes to show you shouldn't believe everything people tell you.
Jarvis Cocker's Quest for Knockers. A one-off strip in which Jarvis Cocker is a pervert desperately trying to look for a pair of breasts to ogle.
Hobbit. Pretend you're German when on holiday by being rude to other holiday makers, overeating and barging into queues.
The Adventures of Jeremy Clarkson, the petrolhead motormouth, a one-off strip featuring former Top Gear presenter Jeremy Clarkson talking extensively about cars to an uninterested big issue salesman.
Make cactus plants safe for young children by removing all the spines with a pair of tweezers.
I think it'd be better off with nail clippers, though.
Brighten up Dill Monday mornings at work by concealing a bottle of vodka in your jacket pockets and taking twigs from it at regular intervals throughout the day. From T-Cat, Manchester.
Oh, there's one here which I like. Joe, 90. A once-only spoof of the iconic character. The World Intelligence Agency decided to recruit Joe for a new mission, despite the fact he is now in his 90s and extremely frail. He is briefed on the dangerous mission, despite such a venture obviously being both physically and mentally beyond him.
Do you remember Topless Skateboard Nun?
I think you asked me that one previously about...
No, that was Naked Nude Motorcycle Girl.
No, you did say Topless Skateboarding Nun.
One day, Sister Mary and her Mother Superior were taking a quiet stroll in the country. What a beautiful day it is, Sister Mary. Quick, the dam, it's cracking. The two nuns went to investigate. Oh no, the school bus, it's broken down on the dam. All those children are in danger. If only we could help. All we can do is pray for them. But Sister Mary knew exactly what she must do. And in seconds she transformed herself into Topless Skateboard Nun. In a flash, she skated across the crumbling dam to the stricken bus. Quick, there's no time to explain. Follow me. Quaw, Jesus, says the bus driver. The children were soon being led to safety. Michael, row the boat ashore. Hallelujah, is what she's singing when she does that. A few hours later, the dam gave away. Shortly, thank you, Topless Skateboard Nun. Whoever you are, you saved those children's lives. Bless you, my son. Way down, boy. Next week, Nymphomaniac Pogo Stick Nurse.
This one looks good. Just Williams, a parody of Just Williams stories by Richard Crompton, with Archbishop Rowan Williams in the place of Crompton's boy hero. Williams steals buns from the kitchen and allows his pet mice to escape during a general synod meeting, while maintaining a William-esque self-justificatory monologue.
What else we got? How kinky are you, Hobbit? Your car is stopped at traffic lights. What would you do? A. Apply the handbrake and sit patiently until they change. B. Rev the engine till it throbs and gently caress the gear knob. C. Open your shirt or blouse, smear bright red lipstick on your nipples. Adjust in the rearview mirror in order to admire your work. 2. On your regular visit to the hairdressers, do you...
Mostly C's.
A. Ask for a short back and sides. B. Ask for a fashion cut in the style of your favourite sexy pop star. C. Ask for your entire body to be shaved and styling mousse to be rubbed onto your parts. So anyway, let's have a look. 20 or more. You kinky devil, you show a healthy, professionally open attitude towards sex. Don't be boring in bed. Experiment, try wild new positions, wear exciting costumes, and put household items up your bottom. Your sex life will be revolutionised. There you go, Hobbit.
Yep.
He's as tight as a duck's ass. Norbert Colon. Do you remember him?
No.
He's the mean old fucker.
Oh, man. Now, this is the sort of heroine I want to see in a comic. Large-breasted, wet t-shirt pneumatic drill girl. A masked superheroine dressed for a wet t-shirt contest who works at the roadside with a pneumatic drill and fights crime.
How about I will marry Baldy? Brave bride Julie Johnson yesterday choked back the tears as she spoke of her plans to marry a man who is going bald. Farmer Palmer. Oh, are you European?
Mostly C's.
Is it? Sneak into town at midnight, hang a beach towel on the best parking meter you can find. What else?
Yes.
Screech to a halt diagonally across the front of the other car, leap out and bang your fist repeatedly on his bonnet, shouting, Bastardo! Bastardo! Mamma mia! Bastardo! Smear a tub of Brill cream over your head, pinch her backside, and then proceed to follow her around for half an hour together with 20 of your mates, all riding on pathetic little scooters, making a variety of crude advances and suggestive remarks. Sit down under a tree and go to sleep for 6 hours. Goad it with a sharp stick, get 100 of your friends to jump up and down on its back until it falls over and dies, then go to sleep for 6 hours. Yeah, so that's it. You're European Hobbit.
Yeah. Lord Shite and Nanny No Dumps. A one-off strip which draws upon the urban myth that the aristocracy do not poo. Do you have a source to back up that claim? It's about an aristocrat who wishes to defecate like common people, and his former nanny is determined to stop him. After several rather blunt episodes, the strip finishes with him locking Nanny in a cage and downing his pants, intending to have a really big smelly shite. Unfortunately, he has to keep his load in his guts for so long that it's solidified to a big and uninteresting diamond, and Nanny is showing fits of laughter.
Gilbert Ratchet, do you remember him?
Oh yeah, he's kind of like them thing. Oh, Major Misunderstanding is a brilliant one.
Victorian Dad. Do you remember Victorian Dad?
No, I don't.
20 things you never knew about wood. Do you want to know this, Hobbit?
Yes.
1. Money doesn't grow on trees, or so the saying goes, but wood does. Believe it or not, tree is nothing more than a giant flower made out of wood with leaves on it.
That is true.
2. Saying you can't see the wood for the trees is like saying you can't see the school for the fish. That is because a group of trees is a wood.
Yes.
As indeed a group of rhinoceroses is called a crash. As indeed as a group of gorillas is called a flange. 4. There's 2 4s. Caveman first discovered wood's potential as a manufacturing material, making crude wooden clubs to hit dinosaurs with. 5. The Queen Mother's teeth, originally wedding gifts from Sir Henry Moore to King George VI, are made entirely out of wood. 6. Yep. Many of today's pop stars take their names from wood. For example, Ronnie Wood and Phil Oakey. God, that's terrible. 7. And so do many sports stars like tennis player Arthur Ashe and cricketer Derek Underwood. 8. We've just thought of another good one, Courtney Pine. The word wood can be used twice in one sentence. For example, would you pass me the wood, please? Woody. Out of the Bay City Rollers. In fact, that's 3. 10. You might expect a breadboard to be made out of bread, but you'd be disappointed. It is in fact a round flat board made for cutting bread on, made out of wood.
Yeah.
Similarly, a cheese board is not made out of cheese. It's not necessarily made out of wood either. We know someone that's got one made of marble. 12. Mind you, they're usually made of wood. 13. The gas board is definitely not made out of wood. Rather, it's an administrative body responsible for the sale and distribution of domestic and commercial gas supplies.
Therefore, it's got nothing to do with wood.
Hobbit, are you old enough to remember like electricity board and gas board shops in the town centre?
No, I don't know. They have those.
Yeah, I remember that one from when I was little. Like the electricity board used to have a shop where you could go buy electric ovens and shit.
Imagine that. There was like an actual place.
And you could go and pay your fucking electricity bill and all sorts. I still remember like old ladies when I was little paying their electricity bill.
So you could actually go in with cash and pay for your electricity.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The Greek word for wood is xylos, literally meaning xylophone or literally wooden piano. It may look appetising to us, but wood is eaten and enjoyed by many animals, among them beavers who revolve in saw-like teeth can fell 6 trees in a minute. 16. Some animals don't eat wood, but are actually made out of it. For example, the wooden horse of Troy, a large wooden horse in Troy, and woodworms, small worms that are made out of wood.
Yes, that's true.
Yep. 17. A clothes horse is not, as you might expect, another type of horse made out of clothes. It is, in fact, an indoor washing line sort of thing made out of wood. 18. And a sawhorse is not a horse made out of saws. In fact, it's not a horse at all, but it's made out of wood. 19. A horsefly isn't a horse either, but it's a fly that eats horses. But that isn't made out of wood.
No, it's not. Oh, I just want to read out one. Randall and Diana deceased.
Oh,
Can you guess what that might be about? It's taking the place of Hopkirk to become the People's Ghost private detective.
The People's Ghost.
She and Randall do investigate the claims of a man who believes his wife is having an affair, only to discover the woman is in fact sending landmines to Africa, which Diana promises, dead or alive, I'm determined to put a stop to it. The strip detected press controversy for some reason, because people can't take a fucking joke.
Mrs. Brady, the old lady.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm getting Mrs. Brady mixed up with Meddlesome Ratbag.
Jack Black and his dog Silver. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't like Jack Black.
No.
Yeah.
Tin Ribs. Do you remember the kid with the fucking weird robot thing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think almost really it's just this Robin Hood and Richard Littlejohn. Richard Littlejohn joins Robin Hood on the mission to rescue Maid Marian, whilst complaining about the gay agenda trying to take over Sherwood Forest. Robot Nun.
Who said Goddess? Go on then, Hobbit.
Robot Nun, she's got Tommy gun tits. She bursts into a service being held at church in outer space and massacres the congregation with automatic weapons fired through her nipples.
Who says God exists and is all powerful? The other day I prayed for 20 minutes for him to fix the gearbox on my Austin 1800. And did he? Did he ask? If anything, he's made it worse. And I can't even get into first gear now.
Oh dear.
Right, are we done? I think we're done. I'm knackered.
I think that this was good, but you know, Viz Comic, an institution. Stick's Toy Story, depicting Sheriff Woody as a dildo and Buzz Lightyear as a new vibrator called Buzz Lightspeed.
Stick's Toy Story, fuck's sake.
Shitty Dick, a man with a difficult medical condition where he expels impossibly large stalls whenever he interacts with a vicar.
Oh, God. Kylie Minogue is my favourite pop star and an actress, so I wrote this poem for her. Kylie, so sweet and smiley, let's sing a song in a rubber-dub styley. Kylie, so cute and twee, oh please Michael Hutchins, give her one from me.
Simon Salad Cream, a pastiche of TV radio presenter Simon Mayo. The full-frame strip shows him presenting a very mundane radio show. Not an overtly funny strip, it's humor in the fact that Simon Mayo is boring.
My dog may not be able to add up, spell my name, or say sausages and Esther like the ones you see on Nat's Life, but he can hold his own in a fight with a badger.
That is good.
They say that all men are the same with the light off. Then perhaps some of you female readers would like to pop round for a shag. My electricity was cut off last week. I began drinking at the age of 16. I've been a heavy drinker now for over 20 years, spending small fortune each week on beer, lager and spirits. But come Comic Relief Day, I'm the one who's laughing, as I've never had to waste money buying a stupid red nose. I already have one. Yeah.
So Garot's money saving tips.
Yeah. Are we done, Hobbit?
I think there's not alcoholism's not to be mocked and made fun of.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Woo!
Stay